What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And welcome back to episode 5 of Ryan's Rants. New month, new us. That's right, it's October now. We've officially made it a month with this series, and I don't know, I just think that's pretty cool. I love Halloween. Frickin' bats. That was such an old boomer reference, I deserve to be thrown in the old folks' home. But anyways, let's get into this week's show. Alright, we gotta open up this show with something I found on the subreddit today. I messed up, except messed up is usually the F word. I'm trying to keep this monetized. And it's pretty nuts, you know. I know not all you guys are fans of the Reddit stories, but trust me when I tell you this one in particular is insane. Today I messed up by making such a disgusting smell from my butt it evacuated a courtroom. What did you have to eat in order to make your farts that foul that a courtroom needed to be evacuated, dude? Like, I'm sorry, what type of Taco Bell amalgamation, 7 days old, not refrigerated food did you eat to make your butt capable of producing nuclear weapons, man? The judge was probably in like that curly wig that they wear, you know? Oh, I do declare that stench is foul. So this happened about 5 hours ago. Today I woke up and had really painful cramps due to the deadly woman's monthly cycle, mixed with some spiced chicken that hadn't set right in my belly all night. I go to the toilet about 3 times before work this morning, and it's eased off a bit, so take tablets, grin and bear it, and leave for work. My job is working within the prison system and escorting prisoners to certain places, including courts, and that's where it all went downhill. Alright, obviously she's really got no control over the cycle thing, so I take back saying, what did you eat? It's kinda out of your control on that one. Same thing if you get food poisoning. It's just out of your hands. I'm not gonna blame them. This is just really unfortunate. Like, this is something where you just look at someone and you just have to feel bad because, like, imagine knowing that you're just farting out the most rancid smell of your life, but you have to go into a courtroom and you're aware of that and you just have to try to hold it together. You feel that spiced chicken coming back. It's hitting with a vengeance, dude. It's throwing haymakers in the stomach trying to get you to release some toxic poison gas. And you just have to sit there, yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor. Like, that would suck. That would suck. I'm going to put an F in the chat for this painful moment. I had to escort this prisoner over to the witness box and stand next to her in open court. So I do my usual, but my tummy has started to really hurt again. I'm trying my absolute best to put off a fart, which I know is brewing, but can't hold it much longer. So I do a really silent one and pat myself on the back, thinking I had gotten away with it. That is, until the prisoner starts coughing and retching and shouting, "What is that?" I quickly realize what it is, but can't admit to such a foul, putrid smell, so start crinkling my nose as well and gagging. The admin clerk walks slightly closer and retches so hard she has to swiftly put her head in the bin. By this point, it's getting loud and chaos is starting to ensue. Not what you want in court in front of the district judge. I'm not trying to give off too much information. I've had some stinky farts in my day. I've lived a long life, you know, not insanely long, like I'm 23, I'm not ancient, but I've had some stinky farts. And not once in my life have I ever made someone retch so hard at the scent that they have to go put their head in a trash can. That is some impressive levels that you were able to achieve there, okay? I don't know if it's something we want floating out in open society. You got a chemical weapon with you at all times. But dang, man, I do have to say that's an impressive level of stank that must have been achieved right there. Oh my goodness, making somebody literally almost puke. I love how they just played along with it too. I mean, that's really all you can do in that situation. In that situation, you got 2 options. You either have to sit there and admit that you made that smell and interrupted the entire court proceeding, or you gotta pretend that it smells horrible. You gotta roll with it. I probably would have done the exact same thing, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, what was that? Oh, dude, whoever did that is probably so cool and awesome. Oh, but that stunk. Oh, man, like, you just kind of got to roll with it. He quickly tells me to take the prisoner back over to the closed dock and states that it must be the pipes and stands down the whole court and makes maintenance come in to check all the pipes for any leaks, cracks, anything which could have made that smell happen. The prisoner still has watery eyes and I'm pretending to gag and the clerk is sipping water next to a bucket. Damn, your fart was so stinky you really had them reevaluating the plumbing, bro. Do you know how much the government hates spending money? Like, do you know how bad your fart has to stink to make them go, whoa, 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 we gotta investigate whatever that is. We might have to redo all the pipes because I'm not doing court in that. Court is already so backed up and like over booked too, so having to shut it down for a day just like messes up so much. I understand why you couldn't admit it. I think you made the right choice. Could you imagine the maintenance men are in there checking the pipes and she's like, I've got to come clean. I farted. Everyone would be like, man, you let that out of your body? That was possible? Like, you made that? Are you okay? Is something wrong with your lower intestine? Like, there's been stinky farts, but stinking up an entire courtroom for long enough that the maintenance men come in and start looking around is impressive. It's also very, very funny. I don't know. I thought this story was hilarious, so I thought you guys would like it, but we're moving on. All right, this next story is just nuts. Being in prison would suck. Losing your freedom sucks. I'm not saying everybody there doesn't deserve it. I'm sure like 90% of people that are in jail, there's a reason they're there. But one thing that would really add to the sucking in jail is if the guards just started challenging you to wrestling matches during their second shift. And apparently that's what was going on in a prison in the United States of America, baby. 3 sheriff's office employees out after staging wrestling matches with inmates. I just love that they got so bored of guarding the prison, they decided to set up their own like WWE federation to make things a little bit more interesting. Do you think they were coming up with like wrestler names, or were they just calling each other John, Joe, like Dan? I wish they would have just started making up like new things. One of the guys comes in draped in toilet paper. It is I, the great Houdini. I will make my enemies disappear. They're like throwing chairs at each other and whatnot. What happens if the prisoners are just way too good at wrestling and just beat all the guards? Do they just walk out of the jail? Like, I just feel like this is just such a dumb idea. Not to mention, lawsuit waiting to happen. Morally wrong to use your power of authority to like wrestle with prisoners. Like, that's already wrong, you know. But on top of it, it's a matter of time till a prisoner gets hurt and then makes us, the taxpayers, pay like a fat settlement because it was in a state prison or whatever. Overall, if you are a prison guard, just don't wrestle with the inmates. How does this even like come up and everyone signs off on it too? One of the guards was sitting there, man, it would be sick if we wrestled these guys, huh? And the other guard was like, that's the best idea that I think you've ever had. One Fairfield County Sheriff deputy was fired and 2 correction officers resigned following a late June incident in which they were wrestling with inmates on the second shift, Sheriff Alex Lapp said on Thursday. He said corrections officer Kyle Archibald and deputy Sean Pettit and corrections officer Landon Talbot staged matches with 3 inmates. There were no injuries, and Lape said one of the inmates said the matches were consensual and the inmates and employees shook hands and hugged following the matches. Alright, at least the inmates were like not being forced to do it, but still, if you're a prison guard, it just seems like a pretty obvious no-no to not wrestle with the inmates and stage matches. It makes it even worse that it was 3 people that got together and thought it was a good idea. You know, one person thinking something stupid, it happens. Everyone's had a horrible idea. Look at this entire channel. But at the same time, you know, if 3 people all sign off on a bad idea, then all 3 people are not the sharpest tools in the shed, and someone should have said, this is a bad idea, guys, we're gonna lose our job. One guy said to the other one, let's stage wrestling matches with the inmate. Oh, that's a sick idea. Let's get another guy in on it. They go to him. Dude, hear us out. This idea is awesome. You know how we're supposed to guard the inmates? Well, what if we said, we're gonna guard our belt for the championship, baby. We wrestle them. We set up matches. What do you think? Huh? I think that you guys are genius. Like, dude, all 3 of you guys thought of this and didn't think that it was going to end horribly. What did you think the sheriff was going to do when he found out about this? Oh, it's all right. They're just having fun wrestling with the prisoners. No, man, he's going to have to shut it down and you're definitely going to lose your job. Prison guard is one of those jobs I feel like you're not allowed to have a bunch of fun in. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. If you really wanted the ability to like set up wrestling matches and goof off, you should have gone like the Dude Perfect route. Prison guard is not the job for people that want to be goofing off while they're working. He said the wrestling match was a violation of several rules of conduct, and it's pretty obvious you can see that could have gone bad in 100 different ways. As I said, it's unacceptable behavior and it's not going to be tolerated. He said some employees who just completed training will fill in the spots of the 3 employees who left, and he said there will probably be some overtime in play as well. Honestly, like, if all 3 of the dudes just get overpowered and beat up by the prisoners, now the prisoners are just in control of the prison. I don't know how many guards are on the second shift, third shift. I don't even know what any of that means. But yeah, you hurt the inmate, you get hurt, the inmates take something off your belt while you're wrestling. Like, who knows, man? There's so many ways this could go wrong. And then beyond that, yeah, I feel like prison guards just can't really be putting their hands on prisoners that way unless they absolutely have to. Like, unless they're breaking up a fight or being attacked, probably just not a good idea to go around challenging them to wrestling matches. Even if you really, really want to do your best, like, Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation. It's just not the time to do it on the job. The 3 of you guys, if you wanted to wrestle that bad, like if the 3 of you were so bent on wrestling, you could have just done it after work. All 3 of you like wrestling. You got a ref and then you take turns fighting. There you go. You didn't have to do it in a prison. It's also insanely dumb, because if anywhere is going to have, like, really good surveillance and be able to check every nook and cranny and figure out exactly what happened, it's a prison. Come on. Like, this is the dumbest place to try to get away with something like this. Especially because they just did it in the middle of, like, one of the rooms. Yeah, man, they have cameras for that. It's a prison. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Apparently, what else was said in the article is that they got away with it for 5 days before someone told, which is enough time for them to probably think they got away with it. Like, if they did it and for 5 days they didn't get in trouble, nobody came and asked them what happened, nobody started asking questions, they were probably high-fiving each other in the break room. Dude, no way, we got away with our wrestling league. We should turn this into a YouTube channel. If they were dumb enough to already do it, they were probably dumb enough to start vlogging it, let's be honest. And then all of a sudden they get called into the office. We're hearing rumors that you guys have been challenging the inmates to wrestling matches. Is there any truth to this? Ah, crap. And yeah, believe it or not, once you confirm that you were challenging inmates to wrestling matches, they got no choice but to let you go. I guess one guy got fired and the other 2 technically resigned. But that's the most technical resignation of all time. Like, if one of you already got fired and the other 2 of you go, you can't fire me, I resign. Like, I mean, technically you resigned. I guess it would look better on your resume. Oh, I resigned from that job, and I don't know, man. You're kind of like really stretching the limit of the definition of resign. Either resign or we're going to fire you is probably what went down too. I don't know if they resign, if there's something like with benefits or whatever, if they can't really be held as liable or whatnot. But yeah, either way, if you ever find yourself in prison and the people start challenging you to wrestling matches, just report it to their boss and they'll probably do something about it. I don't know that for sure, actually. Don't take that advice. I'm the last person to take advice from when it comes to anything in prison. I just thought this was nuts. I can't believe people actually thought this was a good idea, bro. Every time I do this podcast and I go over these weird news stories, I'm like, people can't get dumber. And every single time I think that, they find a way to get dumber. Never ever think that human stupidity can't get deeper. It's like an infinite well, bro. If we had a well as deep as human stupidity, we would not have any water problems. We could provide clean water to everyone. And apparently no one can do that, dude. Like, because even Jackson, Mississippi don't got clean water. But that's an insane situation that's completely different. Whatever. Either way, don't challenge people to wrestling matches if you're a prison guard. And just, I don't know what these people were thinking. We're moving on, though. Alright, so this next story is going to be talking about one of the most disappointing game launches of all time. This actually might have been one of the games that had the most hype and let people down the hardest that I've ever seen in my entirety of time here on the internet. Remember Cyberpunk 2077? Everybody thought that that game was basically going to be the next coming of, like, the franchise. Everyone was going to be playing it for years. and then it came out and it sucked. Well, I saw this article talking about how, well, it's finally getting better now. And I just hate that attitude about game companies and games right now because the game's almost 2 years old, alright? If I pay $70 for something back in 2020 and it takes till 2022 to become enjoyable, I better not see any articles saying that they've done a great job. And I'm not blaming the developers, I'm sure it was more like the high-up executives that made them release it early. But still, I love how this game took 2 years to get good and people are still gonna compliment them, bro. It's like somebody in a really toxic relationship. Sure, Deborah might hit me every time I say something wrong, but she's a great girlfriend, guys. Cyberpunk 2077 passes another notable milestone on Steam. Kudos to the game for getting more players, I guess. It only took you 2 years to be able to figure it out, but this article is just hilarious. Guys, it passed a very important milestone on Steam. It took 2 years for it to start passing milestones. I'm sure its peak player numbers right when it came out were pretty impressive until everyone realized the game just didn't work for quite a long time. I don't know, the gaming industry has just reached the point where games are so expected to be broken on release. They're expected to be so stinky doo-doo the first months they come out that people write articles about what a great job they did in the 2 years since the game's come out. If they weren't able to fix the game nearly 2 years after it come out, then what was the point of even buying it in the first place? Game companies are just so confident that we're all dumb enough to keep paying for stuff even if it doesn't work that they're never gonna stop doing it. Think about it from their perspective. Oh, we don't really have to try and everyone will still give us $70 for a half-finished game, and then when we take 3 years to get it to a working condition, we're gonna get a bunch of praise? That's sweet, and then even more people will buy it years later? Oh my goodness, what a genius business plan. I think most gamers are starting to wake up to it though. I know most of the people watching this are on my side because I rant about this relatively often. It really bugs me. But I think even more normal people that I talk to that aren't crazy into games have complained about how it seems like every game that they buy doesn't really work that well when they first get it. So hopefully that changes, because I'm sick and tired of having to play these 60% finished games that I just paid for. Cyberpunk 2077 is now doing better than The Witcher 3 in terms of concurrent player count on Steam, despite CD Projekt's Red 2020 sci-fi title being one of the most disastrous launches in recent gaming history. The studio has been working hard to try and bring fans to the product they were expecting in the first place. Patches aplenty have seen a lot of the most damaging glitches in the game fixed, and while it's not perfect by any standards even now, the game has made its way back onto people's consoles and PCs. So I'm reading this, right, and I'm like, wow, okay, this game's almost 2 years old. That's relatively old in gaming terms, but I feel like having more players than The Witcher shouldn't be that difficult, because I'm not saying The Witcher's a bad game, it's just been out for a really long time. So I did a little bit of Googling, if they're gonna make an article about it, then it's gotta be relatively recent. The fact that Cyberpunk 2077 didn't have more players than a game that came out in 2015 is pretty embarrassing as it is. That's when The Witcher 3 came out. And that's a classic. People would honestly say that's one of the better games ever made, but it's still embarrassing that it took them that long to get back to break even with a game that they released 7 years ago? It was a 5-year gap between that and Cyberpunk 2077, and it's just now catching up. Goodness gracious, how embarrassing. And what really hurts about Cyberpunk 2077 is CD Projekt Red was one of the developers that everybody was like, man, if anyone's gonna be able to do it right and not screw anyone over, it's gonna be them. They had made The Witcher, they had made a bunch of crazy games. The fact that even they ended up releasing a hunk of broken garbage and taking people's money goes to show how widespread the problem is in the gaming industry. If a company that up until that point everybody liked can have it happen, you know that the Activision and Microsofts of the world just really don't care. Think about how long it takes them to fix a game that's broken if it's not a developer that cares that much. Think about Madden. That's the world that we're heading towards, okay? CD Projekt Red at least has the decency to fix it. It should have never been broken in the first place, but at least this company's got follow through to fix whatever is wrong with it in the original problems. And I promise I did not set out this week to make an episode so focused on things that are disgusting, but the topics just keep popping up, okay? Anyways, everyone loves their dog if they've got a dog, I'm sure. But this lady ended up in the hospital for days after a dog pooped in her face as she was sleeping. And I feel like once your dog manages to put you in the hospital with its excrement, it might be a little bit difficult to take them on just like a normal walk after that. Every time you look at them, you're just going to think of your time in the hospital. I almost died because your poop is so toxic. The official headline, Mom left in hospital for days after dog pooed in her face as she slept. I think the word poo just adds insult to injury. Like, pooed is so much worse than pooped in my mind. Oh, the dog just took a little poo and it poisoned her. Next thing you know, she was convulsing on the ground, said something about having a seizure, whatever that means. Man, imagine being in the hospital for days because of dog poop. Like, that's something you would only expect in a book written for, like, little kids, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. This is a Diary of a Wimpy Kid plotline where he accidentally puts his mom in the hospital because of dog poop somehow. A woman spent 3 days in the hospital after her daughter's dog accidentally did a poo on her face while she was asleep. Amanda Gomo, 51, was taking an afternoon nap with Chihuahua Belle when the pooch became ill and had violent diarrhea. The mom of 3 was asleep with her mouth open? Oh man, top and tailing with Bale when the messy accident occurred and some got in her mouth. She ran to the bathroom to be sick, but later ended up in the hospital with a gastrointestinal infection passed on from the pooch. Being woken up by a dog pooping in your face in general would be on like an unpleasant experience list. That would suck. If somebody told me that story, I would feel pity for them. I would feel bad. But something even worse about it being while you're sleeping with your mouth open, bro. You didn't even get a chance to defend yourself. It's not like you were laying there and it walked up and pooped on your face. You could have moved somehow. No, what are you supposed to do? You're defenseless while you're sleeping. You're just trying to take a quick little power nap. You've been waking up early, trying to get stuff done before the rest of the world wakes up. This dog just comes up and starts pooping on your face, giving you gastrointestinal infections. Does this mean that the dog had a gastrointestinal infection as well? Or is that just what happens when humans eat dog poop? I'm sure we don't do that a whole lot. I don't think this is something we do on the regular, bro. Imagine how disgusting that was. Like, dude, I would have had to brush my teeth so much. I probably would have literally worn my teeth out from the amount of brushing I would have to do if my dog ended up pooping in my mouth. You know that had to be a confusing explanation when they got to the hospital too. They come in, she's like green, she looks on the verge of death. What happened? Oh my goodness. We think she ingested something. What was it? The sooner we know what it is, the sooner we can get to work. Well, it was dog feces, but it wasn't like that. It was not like that, okay? It wasn't like that. It was an accident. She was sleeping, the dog pooped in her mouth. Oh, yeah, she was sleeping and the dog pooped in her mouth. You know, the doctors were a little bit like, yeah, sure, okay. That's actually what happened. I just don't know why you would want to share this with the media. Like, if this happened, it clearly was an accident. Why would you want to go to the news and talk about this? If this ever happened to me, y'all are not getting the story time. Like, don't prepare for that. This one's staying with me, and staying with me until I die. The last thing I would ever want to do is go to some like news organization and start reliving the time that Caleb diarrheaed in my mouth and made me so sick that I had to go to the hospital. Especially because here in the States, that's going to be like a $10,000 hospital visit. You spent $10,000 because your dog pooped in your mouth? No, thank you. I'm never admitting to that if that were to happen. This lady, though, is a little too proud. Yeah, this dog pooped in my mouth. Next thing you know, I was in the hospital. Like, why are you so stoked to be sharing this story? Amanda from Bristol said, I was having my afternoon nap with Belle like I always do when I suddenly felt something squirt in my mouth, like a surprise super soaker. I rushed to the bathroom and my son was in the shower, so before I washed it out, I had time to take a quick snap. It was disgusting and I was hurling violently for hours after and I just couldn't get the taste out of my mouth. Amanda's daughter took Belle to the vet where the pooch was diagnosed with a nasty stomach bug and put on antibiotics, but later that day, Amanda started displaying the same symptoms as Belle, so she rung 111 who sent an ambulance to the house. Alright, I'm not going to put the picture in the video because I think it would get it demonetized and it's gross, but when she says her son was in the shower when she went to rinse it off, so she took a quick snap, she took a selfie with the dog poop on her face. There is a selfie of this woman with diarrhea on her face on the news website. Why would you give that to them? Like, this is a nuts experience, you know? This isn't something that happens every day. Even if you wanted to go to the news and tell them about it. I don't know why you want the news to know about this, but why would you include a picture too? Why would you take a picture? You looked in the mirror, saw dog poop on your face and went, wow, I better get a picture of this or no one's ever gonna believe it. I think people still would have believed it, because why would you ever make up getting dog poop on your face? I'd be more concerned if somebody was rolling around trying to convince me that their dog pooped on their face when it never happened, because why would you make that up? It's never cool to make stuff up, but it would be really, really off-putting if somebody started being like, yeah, dog pooped all over my face, and then someone pulled me aside. Ooh, no, that's actually not what happened. They just love making up that rumor. Wait, they love pretending that a dog pooped on their face? Yeah, good thing that, you told me that they were faking it, you know? Next time they tell me that a dog pooped on their face, I'm gonna ask for photographic evidence. If you're talking to this lady, she will pull out the selfie, though. Facebook profile picture's probably the dog poop selfie at this point. Paramedics prescribed her painkillers for her stomach cramps and instructed her to drink lots of water to flush out any potential infection. After their visit, her symptoms became progressively worse, and 48 hours later, Amanda's cramps had spread all over her body. Amanda's mom then rang 999, who dispatched another ambulance, and this time she was transported to Bristol Royal Infirmary and immediately hooked up to a drip. There, doctors diagnosed Amanda with a gastrointestinal infection that had been passed through Belle's feces into her mouth days earlier. She was kept under observation for 3 days while they rehydrated her with the electrolytes and glucose that she'd lost throughout the horrific ordeal. Amanda, who also suffers from Crohn's disease, said, "From that moment I got ill to when I was put on the drip, I could not eat a thing." Dude, this is like insanely sick. I'm very glad she's okay. I didn't realize it got even worse. I thought that was going to be the end of it. You know, you get put on some antibiotics. This dog poop came back with a vengeance. No, I'm going to give you a gastrointestinal infection so severe you're not going to be able to eat for days. You're going to have to go to the Royal Infirmary and be put up and taken care of and watched by doctors 24/7. Because I, Belle the Chihuahua, am going to drop a dookie in your face. I am really glad she's okay, though. I'm still not understanding why you would want to tell the news this, though. Like, am I wrong for that? Let me know in the comments. Would you guys agree that it's kind of weird to go tell the news about this? I'm glad she's okay, but what was the point? Is it to, like, spread awareness? Okay, guys, remember, if you're laying with your dog, be sure to keep your mouth closed because it could poop in your mouth and make you sick. We're just trying to spread awareness for that. I just don't understand why you would want to turn this into a news story. Maybe she got paid for it. That's the only other thing that makes any sense, is there was some financial compensation. Because otherwise, this is really just exposing yourself for no reason. Like, this is really just going above and beyond to make sure everybody knows that a dog pooped in your face and made you really sick. Alright, last week we talked a lot about stupid TikTok challenges, and I don't think this is as dumb as, like, posting on TikTok how to start a car without a key and then being surprised cars get stolen. But a lady was in, like, a work conference call thing, and I guess she decided to make a TikTok in the work call and then was flabbergasted that the company did not like that when you could hear the conference call audio in the background. Companies are run by boomers, bro. It's not a bunch of, like, Gen Z millennial people yet. I would just avoid making TikToks at work if you can. Imagine trying to explain to your 65-year-old boss, no, I'm not dancing on the job. I'm doing the latest trend. Come on. TikToker gets fired from tech job for posting during work meeting. I feel like a tech job changes things too, because isn't TikTok the app that's just, like, always spying on you, you know? The boss of the company she got fired from is like, hey, we just don't want everybody to be able to use your phone to get all of our secret information. I feel like posting a TikTok at work is one thing. Like, I don't think your boss is gonna be stoked if he looks outside when you're supposed to be doing something and you're just busting down, hitting the renegade like it's 2018. But you really can't be surprised that they weren't thrilled about you recording a TikTok during a meeting. I understand it was probably a Zoom meeting, but they're probably going over, like, quarterly figures. Oh yeah, our profit is up like 80%. What a great week. Hey Sharon, what's the news on that new deal we were working on? They look over, one of them is just like, I really hate my job, doing a dance to, like, the I hate my job song or whatever trend is going on TikTok this week. TikTok is really just out here trying to ruin America, you know, trying to get people fired for their stupid dances. In a viral video with over 300,000 views, Shell explained that during her online morning meeting at 4:30 a.m., she noticed she accidentally forgot to place a mug under her Keurig machine, spilling coffee all over the place. Instead of cleaning it up and heading back to the meeting, she decided to film a quick little snippet of coffee everywhere along with her reaction to the spill, then uploaded it to TikTok. But what she didn't realize was the conference call was audible in the background, which later revealed to her company that she was filming a TikTok during the meeting, and as a result, she was fired. Hold up, I gotta side with her for one more second real quick. A 4:30 a.m. meeting? There's a guaranteed way to make sure all your employees really don't enjoy working for you. Make sure they get up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't think she would have been caught if she wouldn't have had the audio in the background. Like, that's probably what really made them have to do something, is you could hear some, like, classified company stuff in the background. I just think filming it, like, while you're working is probably not the best idea. But if you're gonna film it while you're working, you really gotta make sure they can't hear anything in the background and make out where you were. I think the company is definitely run by boomers, the type that think that waking up at 4:30 a.m. just automatically makes everything better. If you wake up early and you grind, you will win. It's like, yeah, but like, what if we wake up at 8 a.m. and we still grind and we stay until 7 instead of 5? Well, that doesn't work. Sure, it's the exact same amount of man hours, but we need to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and get our meeting on. If you get fired from the place that has regular 4:30 a.m. meetings, is that a punishment, or do you just kind of consider it dodging a bullet? Like, hey, whatever. Yeah, sucks that I lost that job, but I'll go make TikToks at a place that has meetings a little bit later in the day when I can actually be awake. Just be careful out there, you know? The boomers don't love social media, but they're not as unaware as they used to be. You used to probably be able to film a TikTok, tell them it was a commercial or something, and they would just believe it. They're catching on. Be careful where you're making TikToks at work. They might fire you, okay? You don't want to get fired. In this economy, whoo-wee, no thank you. All that for 300,000 views, too. I'm not saying that's not a lot of views, but I feel like losing your job for that many views does not seem like a worthwhile trade-off. Alright, now I wanted to talk about what appears to be the never-ending saga of, like, this GTA 6 leak. This guy got more information than a state hacker trying to learn something about classified military documents. Rockstar hacker claims GTA 6 budget already exceeds $2 billion years ahead of launch. I mean, I don't really think this is like the most insane news ever. Is it news? Is it something we didn't know? Yeah, but if you're sitting there right now flabbergasted, oh, I can't believe they were gonna spend so much money. I don't know if you understand the point of business. Business, their goal is to make as much money as humanly possible. GTA 5 made a lot of money. It's the most profitable media franchise percentage-wise ever, not in terms of like overall income, but for how much money they put into GTA 5 and how much money they took out. Most profitable game ever. So of course they're going to be putting a metric butt ton of money into its sequel because it's also going to print money for them. GTA 6 could be terrible and it will still make more than $2 billion. The second that game comes out, it will have made more than $2 billion easily. At like $60, $70, $80 a pop, I don't know what they're gonna go for on the pricing. I guarantee you that $2 billion is going to look like chump change. It is substantially more than GTA 5 though, so hopefully that means substantially more content. This guy really got so much information out of this leak though. Usually in a leak it's just a little information. He got the source code, he got the map, he got the budget, and he got targeted by the FBI. On the bright side, I know the FBI talks a lot about how they can't get any computer hackers, so maybe they'll be like, we won't turn you over to Rockstar Games, but you have to work for us type of deal. I don't know if that's just how it works in Fast and Furious movies or if real life kind of works like that too, but if he's about to sit in prison for a very long time over this GTA 6 leak, I don't think it was worth it. You're too talented at the computers to sit in prison, pal. On September 18th, the gaming industry all but stood still as one of the biggest leaks in history set the internet ablaze. GTA 6 gameplay was on display for the very first time as dozens of in-development clips revealed new systems, protagonists, and plenty more. Rockstar swiftly followed up to assure the game's development would not be majorly impacted by the enormous leak. And days later, the 17-year-old hacker responsible for the leak was arrested in England. You know, this dude's mom was so confused when there was a knock on the door. She looked outside and just saw like the SWAT team coming to make sure that this guy got taken into custody safely. I feel like one thing boomers haven't really caught on to yet is that you could probably send 2 cops to a hacker's house and it'd be fine. They like send the whole FBI high response team, hostage rescue team ready to go. This 17-year-old's just minding his business. His mom was like, son, what did you do? Why is there 47 men with rifles and bulletproof vests outside? He had to have known this was coming, right? Like, I feel like if you hack into a company as large as Rockstar and you leak files from a game that's going to make as much money as GTA 6, you have to expect that they're going to do something about it. Especially because Take-Two doesn't really mess around, man. They go hard in the paint, to say the least. They're just a huge company. Anytime a company starts hitting like the tens of billions of dollars a year mark, you have to remember the people in charge of the company are now a bunch of lawyers that want to make money. They're not really worried about whether or not your passion hacking project was like upstanding for the moral victory of the internet. They don't care. You hurt the bottom line, so now they are angry and crying. I hope it goes well, though. He's going to be an absolute legend in jail, and just based on that talent, I highly doubt he's going to sit there for long. I'm not trying to sound so tinfoil hat conspiracy, but if I was the British government, I would cut this dude a deal if he worked for us instead of hacking video game information. Because what are the odds of you coming across somebody that's self-taught to this skill at 17 years old? I know there are more of them, but I mean, come on. The guy's got to be pretty good with computers, dude. He's out here doing some Peter Parker levels of genius work by himself in a bedroom. Imagine if you guys actually taught him all this stuff and gave him like government level technology. Homie would be FaceTiming Kim Jong-un by this time noon tomorrow. However, with their online history being traced, further intel is continuing to slip through the cracks. Now it appears the game budget has been revealed in the leaked DMs as the hacker seemingly claimed over $2 billion has already been spent on GTA 6. GTA 6 has been in development since 2014 and the hacker supposedly shared on a secretive message board. He went on to reveal that the $2 billion investment already made by Rockstar parent company Take-Two Interactive, according to what he could glean from the security breach. You're telling me this game has been in development since 2014 and it's still not done? What's the point of being one of the biggest, richest game publishing houses if it still takes you 8 years to finish a GTA? I just want the game. That's me being petty, okay? I understand games take time. I just want it, man. 2014, it's been in development. It's still not done. They just made us rebuy GTA 5 3 times for funsies. Oh yeah, it was super funsies to have to buy it each time a new console came out. I'm sure it was super funsy for you guys to get your new yachts too. Oh, it sure must have been glorious. I'm glad that this info's coming out, but I'm not really surprised, especially if it's been in development since 2014. Like, if they spent $2 billion on GTA 6 and it took 5 years, I still wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be one of the biggest games of all time. They need it to be a hit, because I'm sure the money machine of GTA 5 might be starting to run out and slow down. It's still printing money, but let's not pretend it's printing money like it's 2016, 2015 anymore. So they need this to be a hit, and it's just going to be a huge game. Game development certainly isn't cheap, and now that we've been making games for an extended period of time, you gotta start factoring inflation into this stuff too. Money just is not worth as much as it used to be worth. Like back in the 90s, $1 million went quite a bit farther than it does today. But yeah, a game of this size is going to easily be hundreds of millions, and I'm not surprised it reached the billions. They're going to make that back instantly as soon as the game gets sold. But also, think about GTA Online. Even if GTA 6 Online is bad, do you think that there is enough people out there that are going to be a big enough fanboy to buy the shark cards? Well, then they're going to keep printing money. That's what a majority of the money was from on GTA 5 too. I think they're going to make back their original money very, very quickly in terms of just selling the game. It eventually will turn profitable. But what they're really hoping for is this online GTA 6 to pop off, become the game that everybody's playing so they can collect money like there's no tomorrow. Those microtransactions are all profit, baby. You think it costs them anything on their end to give your account more money? No, that's just a line of code that repeats itself automatically. You're just giving them $20. Like, they're just taking that. It's not costing them anything. You know how fat the margins are on that, bro? And that's why all these companies are pushing microtransactions, by the way. Like, I see people, why would they do that? We don't like them. Oh, they know we don't like them, but they're just rolling around in their money. They can't hear us right now. All they hear in their ears is all the paper crushing together. Oh, goodness, they ripped $100 bill. Oh, well, I have 1,000 more. Like, they're just rolling in the money. They don't really care what we think about it, I guarantee you that. Alright, next up we're going to talk about something that some of you are going to find boring, but like it or not, it's going to probably affect our lives if it keeps going the way it is. The stock market has jumped inside of a car, put on a blindfold, stomped on the gas, and inevitably when that happens, you're going to crash, and that seems to be exactly what's going on. The Dow and S&P 500 hit new lows for the year. For those of you that don't know, the Dow and S&P 500 is just like a collection of stocks that they keep an eye on the average price on to test the overall health of the market. And they've been doing really, really bad. Obviously, inflation has been an issue. I think everyone and their mom has heard about that and talked about that at this point. But when inflation starts happening, they start raising rates to borrow money in order to try to stop how much money's flying around. Well, when they do that, it gets harder for companies to do business because now it costs more money to borrow money, and asset prices tend to go down, so we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, inflation's going bonkers, so we have to raise interest rates, but on the other hand, every time we raise them, there's a chance we cause a stock market crash. Don't you just love the 21st century with everything being so big and complicated? Obviously, I love the modern economy, don't get it twisted, but sometimes when it comes to stuff like this, like the fact we're teetering on the brink of an economic crash, maybe farming wouldn't be that bad. I would get a cool hat, I could I don't know, take care of my field. I don't really know anything about farming, that's it. All I know is I get a cool hat, but I'm super down to get a cool hat. The stock market gave up most of its early gains Tuesday, with the Dow and S&P 500 closing at new lows for the year, and it seemed like nothing, not even soothing words from a Federal Reserve official, could stop bond yields from rising. The Dow Industrial Average dropped 126 points, or 0.4%, and remains in bear market territory, defined as a 20% fall from its peak, and it closed at a new low for the year. The Nasdaq gained 0.3%, while the S&P declined 0.2%, a new closing low for the year. Stock market go boom. I'm going to try to explain this in the simplest terms. Bear with me if you know what I'm talking about. The reason they're mentioning bond rates is so there's this federal bank, right? And they're in charge of the dollar, and they get to say what companies can borrow it for. And if it costs a lot of money to borrow money from this big federal bank, then bond prices go up, and that's like a guaranteed return on your money. You know, if you have high interest rates, you can go get a bond, and you'll make some money, not a ton, but it's a guaranteed return. And so as bond yields go up and it starts to be more and more money from that, people put their money there because it's no longer worth the risk to have it on all these companies, especially because it's now going to cost more for these companies to borrow money. It really is a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I also love how they were well, some guy came out and gave soothing words and everyone still freaked out. Yeah, maybe it's because the government recently just does a whole lot of saying one thing and doing another. Guys, everything's fine. Inflation's not even an issue. 7 months later, everybody's why does a gallon of milk cost 8 legs and 47 kidneys? I don't know. I just feel and that's not a side thing. It just feels like the government in general, every side's just been so out of whack recently in terms of saying one thing and doing another. So I don't know. I could understand why people didn't really take that as some ginormous soothing word that made them want to keep their money there. Plus, it's already down 20% on the year. It's a little too late for the soothing words. Being down 20% is when people are already aware that it's crashing. You know how under a rock you'd have to be living if you have a bunch of money invested in the stock market and just didn't notice how it's been doing this year so far? You would literally have to be Patrick from SpongeBob. Actually live under a rock to not be aware that it's been crashing. It's down 20% on the year, guys. Now, if you don't have a 401k, you don't own any stocks, I don't expect you to care or know about it. But I'm just saying, these people, like, even their calming words didn't do a lot. Yeah, because everyone with a lot of money invested was already aware of what's happening. I just hope we don't end up in a situation with the Great Depression too. I like my depression not great. I like it more like non-existent. I don't want a Great Depression. Especially because I feel like everything's way more fun in a good economy. What, I'm supposed to look at somebody and be like, oh, go out to movies in this economy? No, we can't do that. I feel like I've already lived through 2008. I thought that was supposed to be my once-in-a-generation economic crash. I didn't realize I'd have to be going through one like every 3 years. And since I'm talking about the economy, we'll keep on the serious stuff and do the weekly little Russia update. So last time we talked about it, they had mobilized, started calling up a bunch of people. It has not been going well. As soon as they started calling people up, there's literally lines the size of Russia at like every border crossing to get out. And there's even been a bunch of people like destroying recruiting centers. They do not want to go fight in this war. And while this is going on, they're getting wombo-comboed because Ukraine has had another breakthrough on one of their, like, offensive lines, so Russia is getting punched in the throat. Everyone told them this was gonna happen, and they were like, no, and now they're getting punched in the throat, and we're all standing there like, hey man, we told you that was gonna happen. I don't know if the mobilization is gonna change a ton, but based on some videos I've seen, a lot of these guys getting mobilized are literally being handed, like, rusty AKs and moldy uniforms. For the second most powerful military in the world, allegedly, they really don't have any functional equipment. Russian exodus shows no signs of easing as Ukraine war looms over recruits. Confusion over who will be called up to fight has led to mass protest across the country, violence at draft offices, sold-out fights, and chaotic scenes at border crossings. There were some satellite images that I saw. I know most of you guys are listening to this on audio, so you can't see it. I don't even know if I'm going to throw the picture up, but it's a line of cars literally from the border about like 15 miles back, all of them just full of dudes trying to get out of Russia before they get mobilized. When Putin announced the mobilization, he said it was just going to be like their national reserve. People that had signed up already had some training, but they've done a very bad job at making sure everyone has training. There's been a ton of people getting called up. They're calling up like 53-year-old men. No offense to 53-year-old men, but it doesn't strike me as a very intimidating force. If me and a bunch of, like, the 20-year-old dudes were in a trench in a war and I looked across and everyone there was 10 years away from Social Security, I would be a lot less intimidated. I mean, it's still war, but you know your country is getting desperate if they're starting to draft, like, 55, 60-year-old men and people that aren't having any war experience. I saw a video of a, Russian, like, unit commander, I'm not sure what their officer ranks are called, but it was an officer telling them that they did not have tourniquets. You know, the thing for stopping bleeding, which can be kind of important in a war. They didn't have any tourniquets to give them, so they should go buy tampons to put in bullet holes instead. Like, this was actually being said to them. It's not looking good. And while all this is going on, like I said, Ukraine has another offensive breaking through, so they've got to train these people. They're not trained yet. They can't really bust them out there. I mean, technically they could, but that would just be messed up. They have literally no military training. But a huge way Russia's been generating any leverage has been through these energy prices. Like, a lot of Europe uses Russian gas to heat their homes through the Nord Stream pipeline. And they turned it off, they lowered its capacity. They've been messing with Europe, raising energy prices to try to force them to get rid of their sanctions. And it seems like somebody has gone ahead and sabotaged those as well and attacked them and caused a leak. And I'm not gonna say that it was, the good old CIA. That would be insane. I would never accuse our government of anything like that. But everything I see says that it basically had to have been a state actor. And I don't know who really wants Nord Stream gone. It might not have been the CIA, but something similar. Someone's CIA did something. Because from the way I've had it explained, it's like a giant metal pipe in the ground encased in 8 feet around of concrete. I don't know. I don't think both of them are going to accidentally leak at the exact same day. And apparently there was a seismic scientist that picked up explosions on the Richter scale under the water at around the same time the leaks start. So I don't know what's going on, but Russia's on a bad luck streak because there goes a lot of their leverage. A lot of what they were saying to Europe was that they'll provide gas, they'll turn it back on if sanctions get dropped or if they get supported in the war. And if the pipeline's just gone, then you can't really use it to negotiate now, can ya? In other news, Russia has again insisted that it has a right to use nuclear weapons if its territory is threatened, and several suspicious leaks have hit the Nord Stream pipelines, with experts not ruling out sabotage. European officials, meanwhile, are investigating unexplained leaks affecting both Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines that bring natural gas from Russia to Europe via the Baltic Sea. Both Europe and Russia have said sabotage cannot be ruled out as the cause of the damage. But the finger of blame is being pointed at Moscow, which is yet to directly respond to the accusations. So Russia has been trying to use the nukes. They're like a kid who just unlocked a new weapon in COD and they want every reason to use it. Using nukes is always bad. No one wins in a nuclear war. Literally nobody. I like, on a serious note, really hope that this does not go nuclear, because once that cat is out of the bag, it does not go back in. Nukes are bad, we should never use them. We honestly should have just never invented them, but I think Putin getting more and more desperate is not a good thing, and the fact that they're looking for a reason to be able to use nukes should be terrifying. I don't think we're like on the edge of nuclear war. They've said they're going to use a small nuke, whatever that means, and I don't think they're going to do it. But if they did attack their own pipeline to try to use it as some sort of provocation to like increase their aggressiveness or rally support at home, that's some insane desperation. This was an absolutely massive infrastructure project. I guess if they know they're going to be cut off from Europe anyways, what's the point? But still, that would be some crazy levels of like wanting to conspiracy theory your people into supporting this war. That's like some straight up tinfoil hat stuff. The government went under the ocean and blew up their own pipelines. I'm not going to rule it out. If any country would, it's Russia. I also love that this might be something they dreamed up to try to like get public support at home. You know, someone was sitting there with Putin. All right, there's literally a line of cars like 8 miles long trying to leave because everyone finds this war so stupid. Nobody wants to fight in it. Our mobilization is going horribly. What should we do? I know, let's blow up our own infrastructure to get people on board. And then they did it, and everyone in Russia was like, I don't care about a gas pipeline. I don't know. I know gas pipelines are important, but it's not like it's serving Russians gas. Like, if the Russians are already cut off from Europe, and then the pipeline to Europe gets broken, why would the average person care at all? If anything, it just is confirming, if Russia did it, we don't really know what happened, that they're not planning on coming back to Europe. They're not planning on coming back into the system. Whatever's going on in Ukraine, they're out. Because if they're blowing up this Nord Stream pipeline, that was how they were going to make a bunch of money. That was how they were making a bunch of money off of Europe. So if they're permanently severing that, whatever permanently severed that, it's going to be a lot of money to get that repaired, and I think it might be symbolic of, like, Russia, Europe, no longer bros. The broness is over. We used to be bros until you guys just started rolling around invading people. Not really. We've only been bros for, like, 20 years. The USSR and us were not bros. Cold War II Electric Boogaloo coming soon to a theater near you. The only difference is back in the 80s we were terrified of Russia, and now we know that if we get into a war with them, they're just going to start like drafting people that don't want to be there, giving them rusty weapons and moldy uniforms and be like, hey, good luck, go get some tampons to clean your wounds. It's nuts to be in a military and not have equipment like that. Imagine you get drafted, dude. They yank you out of a target over to the Russian field office to get ready for war. Hey, we don't have sleeping bags or medical supplies, but good luck in the war zone. Get on the bus. Like, oh my goodness. So when I first came back to this channel after my like really long break, I made a video saying that I was just living life, and I still am, and I'm still learning to cook, but I just have one huge complaint about cooking. Why does it take so long? Do you know how much more I would cook a healthy meal for myself if it didn't take me like 7 times the amount of time compared to just ordering food and going and getting it? All I'm saying is that they've made getting unhealthy food way too convenient. It might have been a little bit more equal, but just on time alone. Like, cooking a healthy meal takes stupid amounts of time. Oh, just plan it ahead of time. Yeah, I still have to plan it, bro. Like, even if I meal prep and I have everything sliced and diced ready to go, I still have to slice and dice it. And don't, HelloFresh, so you can get one of those meal kits. What am I gonna just pay someone to pre-cut meat for me? No, if I'm gonna be lazy, if I'm gonna be a slob, I might as well get a cheeseburger and enjoy it. rather than just feel like a subhuman piece of garbage because I had to order pre-cut carrots to make a meal. And I like cooking. It's fun. Like, when I make a good meal, it makes me feel good about myself. It really does. I just wish it took less time. All right, I've also been just talking about this a little bit every week, so we're going to talk about it. Remember the guy that hacked GTA 6, leaked all that information? Yeah, that guy has pleaded not guilty to computer misuse, which I don't know if you really want to take it to trial why you would plead guilty. I don't know what the case is against him. I don't know if he even did it. This is all pure speculation, but that's what's going on with that. Alleged GTA 6 hacker pleads not guilty to computer misuse, remains detained by the police. Who would have thought in the year 2022 people could be arrested for leaking game files? I know it's a business that makes money, but dude, he's literally in jail for leaking game information. I get it. I'm not saying it's not illegal. I'm just saying weird timeline to be living in. When all these laws were written, they were like, yeah, it would really stink if the earth wasn't flat, right, guys? And now people are getting arrested for computer misuse. Just insane how fast everything changed. According to Eurogamer, the 17-year-old who is suspected to be behind the GTA 6 hack was pleading not guilty to the charges. The City of London's police cybercrime unit spoke to Eurogamer about the situation. City of London Detective Inspector Michael O'Sullivan issued a statement to the outlet confirming he appeared in court over the weekend. The 17-year-old who appeared in Highbury Corner Youth Court on the 24th of September has pleaded guilty to breaching his bail conditions and not guilty to computer misuse. The teenager has been remanded to a youth detention center. Going to juvie is bad, he should get on the right path, okay, now that I've said all that, you know this guy is currently the coolest dude in that juvie. He walked in, everyone said, what are you in for? Oh, I hacked GTA 6. And they were like, tell us everything, please. They pulled up chairs, probably flipped them backwards the way cool people sit, and they listened to him regale them with tales about GTA 6 and everything that's gonna happen. I don't know. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying, everybody there was interested to hear what he was in for. I feel like it's not every day people get sent to jail for hacking multi-billion-dollar corporations. Especially juvie centers. There it's usually just kids with anger issues that love punching drywall. Very rarely is it some type of computer genius. You think the prison guards are going to start asking him for IT help, The next thing we're going to read is that he managed to break himself out of prison because they asked him to set up the new guard computers or whatever. Prosecutor Valerie Benjamin said in court that the suspect had used a phone to hack into companies and was holding them to ransom to gain access to illegally obtained software. The suspect was charged with 2 counts of break of bail conditions and 2 counts of computer misuse. Alright, maybe this is gonna sound stupid. How are you guilty of breaking your bail but not the crime? He pleaded guilty to breaking the conditions but not necessarily to committing the crime. Was one of his bail conditions he couldn't use the computer or something? I don't know, maybe I'm stupid. I'm just not really getting that part. I might just be an idiot. That's fair, I'm American. But what I'm not gonna brush over is the fact that this dude was doing all this from a phone? Alright, it's one thing for people to hack ransomware, has been around for a bit. I'm sure people could find a way to do it. Hacking into a company like Rockstar from your phone has to be some super elite hacker thing. Did he have a VR headset he was hacking in the Matrix? I don't know, I just didn't even know that was possible. I consider myself fairly technologically literate compared to the average person. I work with computers all day. Not building them, but I edit on them, I make videos, And I could not tell you how to start hacking something on your iPhone, especially if it's going to be something that's apparently as lock and key as the GTA 6 information. Maybe that's more of an indictment on how badly it was secured versus how elite hacker. I don't know. Maybe he is. That sounds insanely impressive. I don't even know how you would do that. But could you imagine it was just really easy? Come to find out throughout this court case, we find out it wasn't even password secured. They were just basically inviting people to hop on in and take it. Whatever. I hope we get to find out more information about this case. It is interesting to me. I'm sure this guy will be recruited by ex-government agency to go work for them and be in their cybersecurity hacker elite division. But nonetheless, the fact that this guy was apparently able to get into Rockstar Games with a cell phone is impressive. Not legal. Not legal. I can't say I recommend it, but holy cow. Talk about breaking into something cool with something you wouldn't expect. That's like somebody coming out and telling me they got into Fort Knox and stole the United States supply of gold with a toothpick. Yeah, it sucks that you stole the United States supply of gold. You shouldn't have done that, but you got into the most secure place on Earth with a toothpick? Like, how did you even do that? And then our last story of the week has to do with science. As y'all know, I'm not the biggest fan of AI. I just think if we make a self-thinking robot, inevitably it'll be like, man, these humans suck. And some scientists aren't heeding the warning because some people decided to make a laser that kills cockroaches with AI. Yeah, because that sounds like a great idea. Let's start fusing death lasers and AI together. This can't go poorly at all. Scientists created an AI-powered laser turret that kills cockroaches. I hate cockroaches as much as the next guy. I don't want people to get it twisted and think that this video is me announcing that I've joined the Cockroach Stan Club, but I feel like we should not be fusing AI and weapons together. At least until we get good AI that we can control with, like, I don't know, powering our microwave or whatever. Why did we want to jump straight to laser-powered things? Why did we want to jump straight to weapons? We haven't even had the ability for Google to make AI without having people quitting and suing each other because it became sentient, and is it a human, is it not a human? We could have waited a few years before we decided to start tossing it in weapons. I know, controversial opinion. I'm from the land of the military-industrial complex, baby. We love weapons. But still, the only way this can go is not good, in my opinion. Everyone wants to be able to zap a bug and have it go away, but now, thanks to a recent development from this really awesome scientist that has a name I can't pronounce, a researcher associate at Heriot-Watt University interested in machine learning and engineering, this dream is now a reality. How long do we think it is between this and like the FBI knocking on his door and asking for the patent so they could do some cockroach maintenance and they just make a bigger version of it? These poor cockroaches never stood a chance, bro. But also, how bad does your cockroach infestation have to be that you decide to invent a death laser? You've hired exterminators, you've put out the traps, literally nothing is working, so you move on to, building a death laser from scratch to take care of the problem, dude. That's some psychological warfare, too. The cockroach went back to where cockroaches live. You won't believe what happened, man. I was just out there with Eddie trying to find some food. That's what we do as cockroaches. We're standing there having a conversation. Next thing I know, his head is missing. It's just sizzling, and I look, and there's this robot panning over to me. Be exterminated. Be exterminated. I don't know what's up with this house, but we should leave, man. They got technology hunting us and stuff. It was not only able to detect cockroaches at high accuracy, but neutralize and deter individual insects at distances up to 1.2 meters. It's all fun and games till they supersize it and the death laser has a max range of like 1.2 miles instead. I know most weapons are in kilometers. This thing can shoot 10 kilometers at whatever you want. It can automatically detect anyone that doesn't put their shopping cart back in the cart corral. Those are the worst type of people. If you're ever at the grocery store and you're out in the parking lot and you let your cart go, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad if we had an AR laser for that, because you're the worst type of person, man. Have you guys ever seen that cart narcs, dude? We'll talk about that next week, but that guy is an absolute legend. Anyways, that'll do it for the death laser. Thank you all so much for watching another week of Ryan's Rants. If you enjoyed, you should be sure to smack that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments section down below. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. The clips are going to start posting tomorrow, but I will see you guys next Sunday. I don't know, Saturday, Sunday, whenever this video goes up. I'm terrible at knowing days, okay? I've gotten even worse at it the older I get. Don't blame me. But I'll see you guys next time. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today I have a story for you guys about how this one time in class, this girl gave a presentation that was just ridiculous. She just looked like a spoiled, entitled, just crazy person. I know you guys love stories like this, so I figured I would tell it, and yeah, it should be pretty fun. Without further ado, let's get into it. But be sure to press the like button, otherwise, no joke, no scam. You're gonna be transported into Overwatch, but you're gonna be stuck playing nothing but support 24/7. 24/7, and that's not a very fun life, trust me, as a support main. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video.
It's not good. Nice racking her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a feeling.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I think we've all had English teachers that are like trying a little bit too hard, and I mean that in the best way. Like, I personally have had a couple English teachers that just care a little bit too much, you know? They think that they're Dead Poet Society, Robin Williams. They're gonna come in and change every kid's life and like make us love education and find the joy of learning. And usually it doesn't work out because, believe it or not, at 7 a.m. when I'm forced to be anywhere, I'm not gonna like it no matter how hard you're trying to make it fun. It's nothing personal. I really appreciate the effort of the English teachers that try really hard. It's just, you know, getting a group of teenagers to care about Shakespeare is difficult at 7 in the morning no matter what. But we had this one English teacher, and she was a really, really good teacher, I'm not gonna lie, but she made us do this project where we had to, like, write a speech about our biggest, you know, problem we have, our biggest insecurity, and then we had to present it to the class. And I know a lot of you guys are thinking that that sounds awful, and that's because it is. And she thought that it was gonna do, like, this thing where, you know, it unlocked our ability to no longer be insecure about it, and all it did in reality was that now everybody that you were in class with knew your deepest, darkest insecurity. But regardless, a lot of people were sharing things that were just, you know, very personal, and it was just very awkward because I didn't know a lot of the people. Like, I understand it's hard for people to open up emotionally, but it's also difficult to hear people talking about their biggest struggles when, like, you don't even know their name, but you've gone to school with them since 6th grade. I went to a really big school. Regardless, though, there was this one girl who, like, every time it was somebody else's turn to present, she was raising her hand and, like, begging to go. And, you know, a lot of people were just kind of, like, weirded out by that a little bit because everyone else was hiding their head, you know, trying their best not to get picked, but the teacher was just kind of picking on people. And this one girl really wanted to share. And the best way that I would describe this girl, like, I'm not trying to be too mean, is, you know, very attention hungry, like very, very attention hungry. She would do literally anything for people's eyes to be focused on her. So we all knew that when it was her turn to present, it was going to be like very dramatic and over the top, you know, but what she ended up presenting, I don't think any of us saw coming just because it was just like the most socially inept thing I've ever seen. So finally, you know, nobody's raising their hand and wanting to go. So our teacher finally picks this girl because she's been like, ooh, me, ever since class started. And finally the teacher is like, all right, well, everybody else is very uncomfortable and doesn't want to do this. So maybe if I pick somebody with some enthusiasm, the rest of the kids will be like, oh, sick, I want to present this. Nobody wanted to do it anyways. This girl gets up there, dude, and she, like, pulls out this piece of paper that she's written this speech on, you know, and she starts, she opens it up, I'm not kidding, by saying, what I'm about to say is something that I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to, which, you know, nothing says, hey, I'm quirky and different, like, here's my biggest insecurity that no one else has. Yep, definitely not, you know, definitely not. And she starts talking about how, like, math and science and all these subjects, and she's just kind of spewing random facts out, like the square root of 124 is da-da-da, and, you know, the boiling point for blank is da-da-da, like just saying all these random facts. And then she just goes on this rant about how stuff like that is how I know that, like, I'm a very smart person. And everyone is like, all right, cool, I guess. Your biggest insecurity is that you're smart? You know, that's kind of a weird thing. And I'm not even kidding. She starts delivering this speech. I cannot make this up about how she is just so smart and how hard it is to be smarter than everybody else, and how it really, really is her biggest insecurity that she's just so much smarter than everyone. And listen, I'm not saying that this girl was stupid, okay, but, like, she's the reason they have to put warnings on plastic bags that you shouldn't put your head in them, okay? Like, this girl was just not a very smart person, so the fact that she got up in front of the class and just started giving this speech about how, you know, she's so much smarter than everybody and it's her biggest insecurity had everybody in the class very confused, dude. But she's just going on and on about how, you know, she's just smarter than everyone, and she knew from a young age that a majority of people were just dumber than her, and there was nothing that she was ever going to be able to do about it, so no one's actually going to be able to understand her intellect ever. Like, just popping off. And what blows my mind is that, like, she had written this speech and at no point went, this is a really, really bad idea and people aren't going to gonna like me for it. Like, she wrote this speech about how basically everyone she interacts with is stupid, and then read it to a bunch of people that she interacts with on a daily basis. And then she starts going into, like, you know, how when you're as smart as her, it's very hard to have friends because most people, like, don't like the same things as you, and starts talking about how, while most of you guys enjoy rap music, I simply am too smart for that. I listen to smooth jazz. It just starts, like, tearing down everything popular, you know, saying that social media is stupid and anyone that uses it is dumb, which, like, listen, I'm not saying that everyone that uses social media is smart, but if you're somebody that pretends that you're some, like, sophisticated genius because you don't use Twitter, what you really are is a pretentious Dinkelberg who nobody actually likes. So after she gives her, like, little spiel about how much smarter she is than everyone and directly calls us stupid a couple times, like, at one point she's like, no matter what class I'm in, I look around and I realize that I'm surrounded by nothing but idiots who just truly can't understand the depth of my knowledge. Keep in mind, she's giving this speech in front of people that she's in a class with, like, listen, if you're really as smart as you pretend you are, like, if you're really smart enough to give a speech about how hard it is to be smart, I think you would at least be smart enough to realize that's a really bad idea. Like, smart people understand that, you know, life's just easier when people don't hate you. Only stupid people want everyone to, like, hate them. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, there's really no way to get people to like you if you're just going on and on about how, like, stupid they are and how much better you are. But regardless, after she gives her speech, everybody else just sat down. But this girl decides that she wants to take questions. And listen, when you give a speech about, like, your biggest insecurity, I can understand not wanting to take questions. That just seems very awkward. But this lady, after calling us all morons and insulting us, still decided to take questions, which blows my mind because she should have known that she was about to get lit up. Like, literally, she got obliterated by every comment. We're about to talk about it, but she was all surprised that people were offended by her speech, as if she just didn't call everyone a moron. So the first question comes from this girl, like, that's at the group of tables that she normally sits at, and she says, well, if you're so smart, then why did I have to do everything for our group project? And the girl is just kind of sitting there stupefied, and she's like, this is not the time to do grievances. We're here to talk about my insecurity. And the girl's like, no, I'm just saying, like, if you're so much smarter than me, why did I have to do all the work? You told me that you couldn't figure out a PowerPoint. I feel like only stupid people can't figure that out. And the girl is, like, sitting there all confused, and the teacher kind of steps in and she's like, all right, guys, let's be nice. Let's be nice. And so she settles down and the girl's like, any other questions? And she just doesn't answer, you know. But listen, all I'm saying is, if you are in a class where you literally have told people that you're too dumb to figure out a PowerPoint, maybe that's not the best class to go on and call them dumb, bro. Like, if I do your group project for you and then you have the nerve to turn around in class and call me stupid, yeah, I'd be pissed too. So somebody else raises their hand and they're like, if you're so smart, you know, I just have a quick question for you. Like, you know, why are you in this class? Like, this is our normal accelerated class for our grade level. If you're so smart, why haven't you skipped a grade? Like, if you're really just so smart. And, you know, she starts going on this, like, speech about how she thinks that she can teach us a lot because, as, you know, she's just wiser than us. She can probably teach us a lot of things that we're just too stupid to understand. And everyone is just pissed at this point. Hi, I'm going to interrupt the story for a second. On the screen is a code for an Xbox gift card. Whoever gets it, gets it. I give one away every day just to thank all my subscribers. So if you're not subscribed already, you should. I mean, it's free. You can always unsub if you don't like it. And I literally give away money every video to subscribers. So you might as well. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Real talk, though, if you wouldn't mind also pressing the like button and commenting something down below just so I can hit recommended and get more views, I would appreciate it. And yeah, without further ado, let's get back into the video. So once she says that, the crowd really turns on her and the entire class literally starts booing her, dude. And she starts, like, you know, getting all mad at us and screaming that this is exactly what she meant. Like, we're too stupid to understand what she's trying to say. And I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. People who, like, have to tell everyone how smart they are aren't actually, like, smart people. The more somebody has to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm definitely way smarter than you, I just assume that you're dumb. Because, like, listen, the more you know, the more you don't know. That saying, like, I've heard a lot of people say that. Like, yeah, I feel like I know stuff, but I also know nothing because there's a lot of people out there smarter than me. And the second you start believing that, like, oh, everyone around me is a moron is when, no one's gonna like you. I'll just keep it a buck 50. You're definitely gonna be that person, dude. But what's even crazier is like she gets booed until she sits down, and then nobody would like talk to her after that for the rest of the class, and she's all mad that everyone was being weird to her after. And from that point on, for the rest of the year, like whenever there was a group project or anything, she would be like the last person to get picked because everybody knew that, oh no, we're not gonna work with you. You're so smart. And she would get pissed and be like, I don't understand why you guys, are mad at me. And we're like, dude, you literally said that we were stupid and you didn't need any of us, and all we did was like hold you back. So by all means, go do your own thing. No one here is gonna stop you. And she didn't understand why people were mad at her after that, dude. Like, how funny is that, man? You give a speech about how smart you are, but you're too dumb to put 2 and 2 together. I feel like that math's pretty easy to figure out. But hey, that's how some people are, I guess. They just need to tell themselves that they're like the smartest person to ever exist. Who has anything on Stephen Hawking other than this girl who's just given a speech about how much better she is than everybody? That's really what I believe in. I don't believe in science. I just believe in whatever this girl posts on her Facebook page, dude. I should probably look her up. I bet you she's like a conspiracy theorist now. She probably believes that, the government's secretly run by lizard people that have infiltrated us on the deepest level and are now building submarines out of walruses so that way they can infiltrate Alaska and take over all the oil fields up there or something ridiculous. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, as I said, you should press the like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I would really appreciate it. Other than that, you should check out, the OG Sub Club and Haha merch. The link will be down below. And if you want more content, if you just want more of my silky, buttery, smooth voice, I do have a podcast called The Scuffed Cast. I'll put a link in the description. And if you want any gaming content, we did upload a gaming video yesterday. We just kind of played CSGO and goofed off. So if you're in the mood for something like that, like I said, check out The Scuffed Cast. Other than that, thank you all so much for the support. We're actually growing pretty dang quick again, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you all for that. Realistically, you guys make my dreams come true every day, and I do appreciate it. Other than that, one last thing I gotta plug. The TikTok is at Scrubby Stories and at Scrubby with 2 S's. I have 2, so, stop calling me fake because it's actually me. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today we're going to be talking about the time I beat a kid on Nintendo DS at like Pokemon Diamond, and he ended up smashing his Nintendo DS because of it, and then tried to blame me, get me in trouble, and then make my parents buy him a new one. And yeah, regardless, you guys love whenever I make fun of spoiled kids that I've interacted with, so it should be a pretty good video. So without further ado, let's get into it. But before we do, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever, I truly believe that your Nintendo DS and Pokemon cartridge will be smashed by somebody, and you will lose all the memories that came with your first Pokemon game. So be sure to press the like button, and without further ado, let's just get right into it.
It's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a...
Alright, so obviously kids love Pokemon. That's not any secret, dude. And I really, really loved Pokemon. I was kind of a weird kid. I didn't really have like a bunch of friends. My friend was just, my Blastoise and my Charmander, because I ended up taking my brother's game and trading me his Charmander. That's just how it goes sometimes. Real talk though, at my school, Pokemon was insanely popular too. Like, the card game was really popular, the video games were really popular, to the point where our teachers had basically tried to ban it. Like, the underground Pokemon card trade was insane, dude. People would battle with their Game Boys in the bathroom, their Nintendo DS's, and genuinely, it was just a good time. Like, obviously, in retrospect, we probably should have been paying attention in school or whatever, but at the time, everybody was just having a good time doing their Pokemon battle stuff. And this is around 2007, right when the Nintendo DS Lite came out, and it was super, super cool, and I ended up getting one with like a red case on it, and not a bunch of kids at school had them yet, so I obviously felt like the man pulling up with my Nintendo DS Lite, dude. Everybody else had the chunky ones with like the ugly bezels on the screen. Not me, dude. I was walking in dripped out with the brand new technology, looking fresh to death, and I also had been doing a lot of work on Pokemon Diamond. Pokemon Diamond, for those of you who haven't played it, is like honestly one of my favorites in the series. Pinplup was an absolute G. I played Fire Red and Diamond when I was little, so I had an Empoleon, I had a pretty good team, and I'm not not trying to flex or anything, but I was pretty good in terms of the school. Like, I would say I was probably, on any given day, like, the best or second best Pokemon trainer, but that's because I had absolutely no life, dude. I was genuinely just, like, grinding, the Elite Four over and over and over again to level up my Pokemon so I could be good at battling in school. So I was a giant nerd, but there was this other kid. He was the only other kid in my grade who had a Nintendo DS Lite. Most of the other kids were either younger or older than us, and I'm gonna name him Brandon for the story only because, I don't know, I feel like some people with name Brandon have some anger issues. It's nothing personal, Brandon's out there, okay? I guess you could take it personally if you want, but I'm gonna name him Brandon. And Brandon, had just started getting into Pokemon. He didn't have a bunch of experience, but he thought that because he had a Nintendo DS Lite that, like, somehow he was better than everybody, right? And, he was constantly talking trash about how his Pokemon team could beat anybody, and he would embarrass anybody who had the nerve to challenge him. And me, being me, I decided to challenge him one day. And, obviously I knew I was gonna win because at the time I was just pretty goated at Pokemon, but this guy just, like, was being super cocky and talking trash to everybody, talking about how much better he was at Pokemon than everybody else. And he was also just capping, bro. Like, he claimed that he had caught Mewtwo through this glitch or whatnot that wasn't possible. So I was just like, it's about time for me to just go in here and win this, bro. I just got to do it for the squad. So the day comes where me and him are supposed to Pokemon battle, and we had set it up like during a class. So sure enough, we go into the bathroom. There's a bunch of other kids in there, which sounds super weird, but like everybody knew it was about to go down. You know what I'm saying? So we get in there, we get out our DSs, and we go into the Pokemon Center. We go upstairs, which is how you used to have to do battles, like with somebody else on a DS. You couldn't just, global chat it and like do it online. You used to have to go into the Pokemon Center and like link. It was a different time, right? So we link up, the battle starts, and this dude basically had cheated. He had gotten an Action Replay DS and gotten all level 100 Pokemon. And I know a lot of people hate people that do that. I don't really care, bro. It doesn't matter to me. Like, do whatever you want. However, I had a legit level 100 Empoleon, and then most of my Pokemon were like high 80s or low 90s. So I was at a disadvantage, but like I wasn't massively overmatched. But I instantly knew that this dude didn't really know what he was doing because like he had an Infernape, right? That was level 100 and it knew Cut, bro. Like this guy had made his Infernape learn Cut. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's basically like one of the most useless moves in the game, and it's a certain type of move. Most of the time when like a Pokemon learns a new move, you can forget it later when you get a better move, because as you level up, you get better attacks and whatnot. But this guy had given it like a garbage move that can never be forgotten. Cut can never never be getting rid of. So this guy had basically taken this like super strong Pokemon and given it a useless move in its level 100. So I'm pretty confident I'm gonna win. And I knock out his first Pokemon, I knock out his second. Anyways, to make a long story short, I end up knocking out every single one of his Pokemon before he even knocks out 3 of mine. So like he's GG'd before half of my team is gone. And obviously everybody around us is kind of giggling a little bit because of the amount of crap that this guy had talked about how, oh, I'm the best at Pokemon, nobody could beat me. And I really just like walked in and curb stomped him with lower leveled Pokemon, by the way, because this guy just didn't know what he was doing, dude. Like I had an Empoleon, he had a fire type Pokemon, Empoleon is water type, and he just like wouldn't switch, bro. He would just leave it in, and he was just doing stuff that was dumb. Like he should have won, I'm gonna be honest with you. The only reason he didn't beat me is because he just didn't know what he was doing. Regardless, everybody kind of started like laughing because he had been talking so much trash and telling people how much better than he was. And when little kids get mad like that, they don't really know what to do, and I think he was embarrassed. And anyways, he like starts yelling at everybody to stop giggling at him. And obviously when he starts to like get mad and scream at people to stop giggling, they start to giggle harder because that's just what happens, dude. I don't know why that is, but let's be honest, everybody's been there before. And when they don't stop laughing at him, his response is to throw the Nintendo DS on the ground, dude, and it hits the ground with like a clack. If you've ever dropped a Nintendo DS, you know the clack I'm talking about, dude. And everybody's like, oh my god. And the way that he had thrown it was that the screen was like out. So he had broken one of the sides of the screen that like locks it in place, and he realizes that it's broken, and instead of being like, like, oh no, it's still usable. The screen still worked. Basically, whenever a DS breaks like that, the screen's just kind of loose. If you've ever had a DS break like that, you know what I'm saying. Like those little things that hold the screen up, they snapped off. So it was very loose now. And he gets pissed about the fact that he broke it. And he just starts like curb stomping the Nintendo DS, dude, just kicking it, stomping it. He picks it up and throws it again. And everybody is just kind of sitting there with their mouths open because you never expect a kid to just start going ballistic on his brand new Nintendo DS, dude. And as I said, the Nintendo DS Lites were still pretty rare at this point. Like, they were brand new. It wasn't like, you know, he raged out on a 5-year-old Nintendo DS. This dude had raged on a brand new thing. So he's going ham on it. And finally, I think he realizes that, like, it was working before and he just went crazy and broke it because he starts crying. And everybody's just kind of standing there uncomfortably, not really knowing what to do because we had just watched this kid break his Nintendo DS. And then he starts yelling at me. He points at me and he's like, why did you make me do that? And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean I made you do it, dude? I had nothing to do with you throwing your Nintendo DS. And he starts saying that, like, I embarrassed him and got everybody to laugh at me and, like, I shouldn't have challenged him if I knew I was gonna win. And I'm like, dude, you've been running around the school telling everybody that you're better than them and could beat them all. So yeah, I challenged you. That's what happens when you say that you're God tier and nobody could beat you. Obviously, people are going to try to beat you. And he's like, yeah, but you didn't have to try so hard. Like, you could have let me win. Yeah, I should have let you win. My bad, bro. I knew that you were going to take it so personally that you were going to Hulk mode your Nintendo DS. That's 100% my fault. He was just doing the spoiled kid thing where, like, they don't want to take any responsibility for their actions whatsoever. We've all met somebody like that. Oh no, it's not my fault. You forced me to shatter my Nintendo DS. Yeah, sure I did, buddy. I'm sure I also taught you that, like, when people laugh at you, the best thing to do is to freak out and destroy things. That makes everybody respect you way more, right? Like, dude, it's not my fault that you went ham on your DS. So I'm calling him an idiot and whatnot, and he's getting mad at me. He's like, you know what? I'm telling the teacher that you made me shatter the DS. And I'm like, dude, don't do that, because then they're really going to crack down on the Nintendo DSs, and you're going to ruin bringing your DSs to school for Pokemon. He didn't care, bro. He went and told on me, and obviously I get, like, pulled aside, and they start asking me if I had anything to do with breaking this kid's Nintendo DS. And at that point, I knew the gig was up, because, like, he had the broken DS. He had shown it to him, so I ended up having to, like, explain the situation. I left out a bunch of details, basically as many as I could, just because I didn't want a bunch of people to get in trouble. But after that, when the teachers realized that, like, this little Pokemon battle thing was getting to the point where kids were freaking out and we were constantly skipping class to go into the bathroom, they shut it down, which at the time really sucked. But, like, yeah, probably better that a bunch of elementary school students aren't constantly skipping class where they're, like, learning how to read and whatnot to go play Pokemon. I can understand why our teachers ended up shutting it down, dude. But real talk, homie had to snitch. Like, he genuinely said that I destroyed it in a fit of rage. And I think the teachers believed me just because I was like, look, I'll be honest, I don't want to snitch, but here's what happened. And they realized that I was telling the truth. And this kid definitely was probably acting susser than the imposter in Among Us, let's be honest. I feel like they were like, oh, he smashed it? Yeah, definitely he did it. I had nothing to do with it. Regardless, the Pokemon stuff got shut down pretty shortly after that. There was a bunch of other stuff that ended up happening with the cards and stuff. Like, it wasn't exclusively that. I think that was a part of it, though, because I'm sure they had to explain to his parents why his brand new Nintendo DS had gotten smashed, and I'm sure they were not happy about that either. I know I wouldn't be if I had just bought my kid a new console and he ended up smashing it at school to try to, like, flex how cool he was after he got beat at Pokemon. How did he explain that to his parents? Yeah, Mom, listen, you suck. I'm gonna need another action replay DS. I really have got to just get that rematch on, get a better Pokemon team, and go again. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to just press the like button and let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. If you've made it this far and you wouldn't mind commenting the word Pokemon down below, it just helps me do better in the algorithm, and I would appreciate it. Other than that, check out the OG Sub Club and Haha merch, and if you want more content, longer content, I actually do have a podcast. It's called The Scuffed Cast. I'll leave a link to it in the top of the description, so feel free to check that out. Other than that, guys, that's going to do it for the video. The Instagram is is at Scrubby. Twitter, at Scrubby_69. The TikTok is at Scrubby with 2 S's, and at Scrubby Stories. I have both. Please stop commenting on my TikTok telling me I'm fake and then arguing with me about it. Trust me, I know I'm real, I pinky promise. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today we're going to be talking about the time this dude's mom literally stole one of my YouTube plaques. It was one of my little brother's friends when I was like at my parents' house. And yeah, honestly, just a very unfortunate situation. Regardless, though, it should be pretty damn funny. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. And be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Your friend's mom will steal your YouTube plaque when you inevitably get one.
It's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a...
Alright guys, so what's going on? As some of you know, I ended up moving a little bit earlier this year, but before that, for just like a week or two, I ended up having to stay with my parents because where I was living wasn't working out anymore, but like I couldn't move into the new place yet. So I was just at my parents' house because they also live in Las Vegas. This is where I grew up, and you know, everything was just kind of chill, but I just had a bunch of stuff like on the dining room table right when you walk into their house because I wasn't planning on being here for long, and the idea of like unpacking everything just didn't seem kind of dope. And on the table were my plaques. You know, I have 5 plaques now. Wow, that sounds douchey to say. I have 2 gold plaques and then 3 silver ones. At the time, though, I only had 2 silver ones and 2 gold ones. I ended up getting another one this year. Big thank you to you guys for that one. But you know, they were all just kind of sitting on the table. I had them wrapped up in some shirts, but the gold one from Scrubby, like, you could see it. I don't know why I didn't cover it up. Like, it wasn't intentional. I wasn't trying to flex. It was just there. And I have a little brother who's like 15 years old. He's a pretty cool guy, swagtastic as all hell. Regardless, some of his friends are just kind of weird, bro. And he has this one friend who, like, every time he would come over would just basically beg me to take a plaque home with him because I had enough. Which, let me tell you this right now, bro, is a really stupid thing to say. Regardless of whether or not I have enough plaques, I work really hard for them and I'm not just gonna give them away to people, dude. But, you know, my brother just had this friend. He was one of those kids that was just super used to having everything that he wanted handed to him, bro. You know, the type of kid where, like, the word no comes out of somebody's mouth and they don't even know what it means. They're like, huh, what is this word? My mommy always tells me yes and says that I am her special baby boy darling poopy pants. And this dude would seriously, like, sit there and be like, oh, you know, if I took this plaque home, I could put it in my room, and then, like, in the background of all my Twitch streams, I would have a plaque that would probably get me more viewers. And I'm like, yep, probably, dude. And he's like, yeah, so you should let me have one since you have so many. And I'm like, no, that's just not gonna happen. And this guy, the balls to come into somebody else's house and, like, ask their older brother to take their YouTube plaque is pretty impressive. And obviously, I'm saying no, and he's just not a big fan of it. Like, he would never directly argue with me about it, you know, but he would just kind of give me dirty looks and try to come up with more reasons that I should give it to him. And obviously, I'm staying strong. I'm not gonna let some random kid I don't know that well just take my plaque with him, especially if he's just gonna, like, use it in the background of his Twitch streams. If I'm gonna let anyone use that, it's gonna be my own brother, okay? Like, if anyone's gonna use my plaques, it's gonna be my sibling, not this random dude I don't know. Anyways, this kid is hanging out with my brother, and they're hanging out all day. I'm kind of just staying in my room doing my thing. I think I was making videos or whatnot, and like every 30 minutes, dude, there's a knock on the door, and my brother's friend comes in and starts, like, once again trying to reason with me about why I should give him the stuff that I've worked for, right? And I'm like, dude, it's not gonna happen. And finally, around 6 p.m., like, you know, it was time for him to leave, and obviously, because my brother and his friend aren't 16, they can't drive, so his mom had to come pick it up. And usually whenever somebody comes to, like, pick up one of my brother's friend, I don't even see their parents because it's kind of weird. I have no desire to meet you. I don't really care who you are. But my mom, like, knocks on the door of the room I'm in, and she opens it, and she's like, hey, Reese's friend's mom wants to meet you. Is that okay? I guess, like, Reese's friend told her that you're a YouTuber and whatnot. And I'm like, sure, I guess. I don't really know why this middle-aged lady wants to meet me, but why not? So I walk down there, and her and her son are standing there, and he's just kind of staring at the plaques, and she has this smile on her face, and she's like, oh my gosh, you must be Brian. She doesn't even say my name right, dude. My name is Ryan. She says, you must be Brian. And I go, oh, it's Ryan. And she's like, oh, close enough, right? Haha. Anyways, my son's told me so much about you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Isn't that so crazy? So here's what I'm thinking. I see that you have 4 plaques here. That's super impressive, but how would you feel about, like, maybe letting us have one, you know? Because my son just really wants one, and, like, he's been wanting one since he was a kid, so what do you think? What do you think if you just let us have one? This lady who doesn't even know my name, bro, is seriously sitting here telling me that I should just give her my plaque, bruh. You know what's crazy? Yeah, I know your son wants one. I wanted one when I was 15, too. I really did. That's why I went and got one, dude. Like, listen, I understand the point, bro. I'm not saying that, like, that there's anything wrong with being like, oh, those are cool. I get it. If I was 15 and my brother's friend had YouTube plaques, it would be cool to me. But, like, no, I'm not going to expect him to give the stuff that somebody else worked hard for to me just because they want it. And even then, that's like getting a trophy for something you didn't do. Oh, he's wanted one forever. Yeah, you do realize they gave it to me because I, like, got that many subs. I didn't just go buy them, right? Like, why would you want a trophy for something you didn't actually do? It just seems stupid to me. And when I, like, just tell her no, you know what I'm saying? I say, no, you can't have them, dude. She gets all mad at me and she's like, well, what if we bought them from you? And I'm like, yeah, you can't do that either. And she just gives me this look and says something super insulting. She's like, really? Name any price. I'm sure that website can't pay you too much. I'll give you $200 for the gold one. $200 for my gold plaque, bro. And at this point, I'm insulted. She's just being rude, and I don't feel the need to be nice anymore. So, you know, I start doing what I do, which is just talk trash, and my mom is just sitting there looking absolutely mortified. All right, I'm going to stop the video for a second. Here's a PSN code. It's a $10 gift card. I try to give one away every single video for people that are subscribed, you know, and watching and whatnot. So if you're not subscribed, you should, because it's free. You can always unsub, and I literally give away free money, so you got nothing to lose. And yeah, I'm going to put a second code up on screen only because I forgot to put one in yesterday's video, so you get a 2-for-1 special. And okay, let's get back to the story time. Subscribe if you haven't already. So I start just kind of being mean and just being like, no, they're not for sale, especially not for $200 because I make more than, like, I $200? Are you kidding me? For my gold plaque? Like, I'm not trying to flex or anything here, but it's worth quite a bit more to me than that, even just for sentimental value, bruh. If my YouTube channel disappeared tomorrow, I would rather go get a job than sell my gold plaque. I'm being honest with you guys. And she starts, like, getting lippy with me, saying that, you know, I'm being just rude, which is insane considering you just called me broke and asked me to give you my plaque for free, and now we're like, oh, I'll give you $200 for it. Basically saying that, you know, for lack of a better term, this is kind of cringe. Everything that I work for is just worth like $200. So I start getting lippy, and we're kind of getting like back and forth snippy with each other. And my mom is like, hey, just get out of here, Ryan, just get out of here. And she's like, they're not for sale and whatnot. So the lady ends up leaving. I just go back to my room, but like I don't see her leave. So later that night I come back out, and because we had been fighting about the plaques, I just decided to like move them into my room and set them up so that way I could just look at them, bro. I'm not gonna lie, like I not in a weird way. Usually I don't. Like they were on that table all night, but after like thinking about it, I was like, oh, I want to look at my plaques because this lady tried to take them. You ever do that before, bro? You didn't really care about something, and then someone like tries to take it, and all of a sudden you're all defensive of it again. And I'm looking through, and I realize that my silver plaque for Scrubs is missing, dude. Like it's gone, and I know for a fact it was there because I didn't misplace it. So I go and I ask my mom, I'm like, yo, did you move the silver plaque that was on the table for Scrubs? And she's like, nope. I ask my brother, he says no. And then I'm like, I think that lady took it, dude. That lady took my plaque. And my mom is like, Ryan, don't be ridiculous. She wouldn't take your plaque. Are you kidding me? Like, you can't just assume that everybody is always stealing your stuff. I'm like, Mom, I'm telling you that lady took my plaque. So she agrees to call and just ask, but the entire time she's saying that I'm ridiculous for making her do this, and there's no way that they actually have it, and I'm just being silly, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, my mom gets her on the phone, dude, and this lady starts arguing with my mom about how she didn't take anything, and like, you know, they'll bring it back when he's done with it and whatnot. So this lady had taken my plaque plaque, bro, and her excuse to my mom was that they were just borrowing it and we're gonna bring it back and not keep it. So obviously, at this point, I'm like, give me their address. I'm gonna go get my plaque. And so my mom's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, they'll bring it back. I'm like, no, I want my plaque back. So I get on the phone with her. I take the phone out of my mom's hand and I basically tell the lady that she has an hour to bring my plaques back or I'm going to call the cops. Just because, listen, dude, if I tell you no, you can't just take it and then be like, oh, we're borrowing it. I told you no. You can't just take it. That's not how this works. She's arguing with me saying that, like, the cops wouldn't do anything because she didn't take anything of value. And I'm like, listen, lady, I'll lie. I don't even care, bro. Like, that, I'm getting my plaque back. So she agrees to bring it back because I think she realized that I was going to do it. Like, I don't know if she's used to people just backing down and saying it's fine, but I was like, nah, I don't care, lady, one way or the other. So she ends up bringing my plaque back, and I go outside to get it from her car, dude, and she pulls up and, like, throws the plaque like a frisbee just out of the window. So I, like, dive to catch it, and I catch it. It's fine. It got, like, one big scratch on it. I'm not quite sure where it happened, but, you know, it has a scratch on it, but from far away, it doesn't look too bad, dude. But seriously, this lady that was the friend of my, or the mom of my brother's friend, ended up stealing my plaque and then, like, getting pressed and throwing it at me, dude. Imagine getting mad that you got caught stealing something and then, like, throwing it at that person. It's not my fault that you tried to steal my stuff, Rebecca. You're lucky I caught it, otherwise we would have had more problems, dude. I'm not saying that I would have done anything to her, but, you know, that Range Rover you're driving would be really fun to kick. Who has the balls to just go into somebody's house and just take something after you ask and they said no? Like, literally, we had a whole conversation and argument about how you can't have it, and then she still just decided to take it from somebody's house, dude. Like, people like that deserve to just low-key get fought by a grizzly bear. Let's be honest here. I'm not trying to be mean, all right? Maybe that's a little bit too far, but, like, you walked into somebody's house, said, can I have this? They said no, and then you just took it, and then you got mad when they asked for it back, as if that makes any sense. Like, oh, my bad for asking for my stuff back. Oh my god. Regardless, my brother kind of decided to just not hang out with that dude anymore because, you know, he was kind of complicit too. Like, obviously the mom is more at fault, but at the same time, bruh, your mom wouldn't have tried to steal the plaque if you didn't tell her that, you know, you wanted it so bad. Regardless, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. Go ahead and comment the word YouTube down below if you found the video enjoyable. It just helps me hit recommended. If you want more content, I do have a podcast. It's called The Scuffed Cast. I'll put a link at the top of the description. And yeah, other than that, don't get anyone pregnant. Follow my TikTok at Scrubby Stories, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. I promise. I know yesterday I said today's video would be about, like, the lady we hired to come get the ghost out of my house. That being said, all my roommates are still asleep because yesterday was Halloween, so instead I'm going to be telling the story of a time this kid got his head stuck in a class chair, like one of those plastic ones, all for a little bit of internet clout. And yeah, it should be a pretty fun video, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Celebrate. It's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's... Alright, so this story takes place in middle school, and as I've said a couple times, I actually was in middle school right around the time that, like, social media started to come out, dude. So people were still doing really stupid things for clout. Like, I watched the planking trend where people would just lay all the way down and get points for it on the internet, dude. It was weird, but regardless, there was this one kid in my class that, you know, for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna name Jeremy, and Jeremy was the type of kid who would do literally anything for attention, dude. Like, if somebody found a hot dog in the trash can and they were like, all right, dude, eat it because I want you to, he was the type of guy that would just go, okay, no problem, and just start eating hot dog trash cans, or like trash can hot dogs. I got that a little backwards, but that was the type of kid he is. And regardless, one day we're sitting in class and one of our teachers left the room for something. I don't remember exactly why they left, but as soon as they left, somebody next to me looked at this Jeremy kid and said, hey, I bet you can't get your
your head through the hole in the chair. And I don't know if it was just this class or like because our school was kind of broke, but we had little kid chairs in middle school. For some reason, they were like the really small chairs. And sure enough, Jeremy looks at it and he's like, okay, what will you give me if I get my head through it? And the person who was daring him is like, look, I'll give you $5 and I'll post it on my page, which has a bunch of followers or whatever. And Jeremy is like, okay, well, how many people do you think will see it? And he says that around 2,000 people see my post every time I post it. So Jeremy decides that apparently that's worth it to him, and he gets down and he like puts the crown of his head against this hole in the chair and just starts pulling the chair onto his neck, almost like he's trying to put on a necklace. And I really wouldn't recommend this at home, dude. And he's like really struggling to get it in, and everybody's just kind of watching him, laughing at him. And finally, almost like with a pop, the chair kind of goes bop over his head and then is now stuck on his neck, which, you know, as far as chains go, a little kid chair definitely is the least intimidating thing ever, dude. If I'm ever watching a music video and like one of the dudes walks out with a kindergartner chair, that's it, I'm packing it up and I'm clicking off. But for some reason, as soon as the chair is on his neck, he stands up and starts laughing, and everybody's laughing with him. And sure enough, the person who dared him to do it, they give him the money and they're like, wow, dude, that was super awesome. And so far, everything about this story is going good, right? Exactly. This is when things start to go dramatically wrong. So keep in mind, at this point, he literally has the chair on his neck. It is on his neck, like it is in chain mode. And so he decides that it's time to take it off. Everybody gets their picture and whatnot. Everything's going well. And when he goes to take it off, he can't. He had popped it over his head and then the hole had gone around his neck, but now he couldn't get it back off, if you're picking up what I'm saying. And the reason he couldn't is because before he was using his head as like kind of leverage, but trying to pull it up over is like just stretching his neck out. You know what I'm saying? He can't get it out. And at first he's staying calm. He's telling everybody that he's gotten into situations like this before, which I think he thought made him sound cool, but genuinely just made him sound really dumb, dude. Like I'm sitting there like, oh, you've been in this situation before? You're telling me that, you know, this is the second time you've managed to get your head stuck in a plastic chair, dude? If that is the case, I think that you just need to stay home from now on. You probably need some homeschooling. Like, he was genuinely bragging about the fact that this is not the first time he's gotten his head stuck in a plastic chair, and he's staying calm and just trying to pull it off. But I can tell by the look on his face that he's like starting to panic a little bit, because it's just not coming off. This head is stuck, or this chair is stuck on this dude's head. He just can't get it off, and he's pulling, and he's trying to stay calm. And finally, after about like 2 minutes of trying to pull this chair off his head, he starts freaking out, and he's like, guys, I can't get it off. Guys, I can't get it off. Like, I'm being honest with you guys. I can't get it off. I don't know what to do. And once he started freaking out, it was really over, because then he just started crying and pulling harder on the chair, which didn't actually do anything because like it was stuck. So he's just hurting himself more because he can't get the chair off of his neck. So he's crying and freaking out, and he's like having a breakdown because he thinks that he's gonna be stuck in the chair forever. He's like, I don't want to have to go to prom with the chair on my neck. Keep in mind, we're all in middle school. Prom is a far way away. And finally, after a bit, our teacher comes back in, and she sees this kid just full on crying with his head stuck in a chair. So she starts asking what happens, and sure enough, we all explain that like he got dared to stick his head in the chair and he did it. And I will never forget the look of disappointment on our teacher's face, dude. You know when you've ever just done something so stupid and an adult sees you and they just can't fathom how few brain cells you have? That was low-key the look on her face. Like, we had disappointed this teacher plenty at this point in the year, but the disappointment when she comes back in after leaving for like 30 seconds and the chaos that we had gotten up to was getting a kid straight up stuck in a chair, no wonder she hated us, bruh. I used to be like, oh, I wonder why she's so mean to kids. I'd be annoyed too if I left for 20 seconds and I come back and they had convinced somebody to get their head stuck in a kindergartner plastic chair. Anyways, she goes over to the kid and starts like trying to help him get his head out of the chair, but she can't get it off because once again, like the way that it's on his neck now, if you pull on it, it's basically like trying to pop his head off like an action figure, and that's just not a good thing. So she goes ahead and like calls the principal's office and explains the situation. So all the deans and the principals, all the assistant principals, like the janitors, everybody's in here trying to get this stupid chair off this kid's head. And at this point, he's like so embarrassed that he stopped crying. He's just hiding his head in shame because everybody is still in the class, dude. Like, literally, the entire staff is trying to pop the chair off of this kid's head and they just can't. Hi, I'm interrupting the video for a second. There's a $25 Roblox gift card on screen right now. I give one away every day just to say thank you for being subscribed. If you're not already subscribed, then you should. Apparently, 50% of my viewers aren't subscribed, so you should press the button. It's free. You can always turn it off, and I give away a gift card every day, so I mean, why not? YOLO, turn on notifications while you're at it, and without further ado, let's get back to the dumb kid with a chair on his head. So now with everyone crowded around him trying to get it off, dude, they quickly realized that it's just stuck. There's nothing they can do. Like, this kid had really managed to get this chair straight up stuck on his noggin. I don't know what his plan was. So the principal finally is like, all right, we have to call the fire department, and the kid starts crying because he realizes that, like, he's definitely gonna get in some type of trouble for this, bro. You can't just have the fire department come to get a chair off your neck and have the principal be like, damn, just another Tuesday. I don't think that's what happens. So sure enough, the fire department ends up coming, and they had to cut the chair off this kid. Like, they had to bring in one of their special little tools and break the plastic chair so that way they could get it off of him, man. And I don't know how relieving it had to have been when that plastic chair finally got off of him, but I'm gonna guess that was like one of the best feelings ever, dude. Just finally having that chair off you. But imagine the shame of having like 8 firefighters, dude. They could be saving a house on flames right now. And nah, they had to come to the school because you were too stupid to not get your head stuck in a plastic chair. I don't know how some people manage to live with the shame of these situations, but hey, it happens. Real talk though, he never got his chair or his head stuck in a chair again, so I guess he learned his lesson. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Go ahead and comment the word chair down below if you found this video entertaining, or if you ever think you would personally try to stick your head in a chair, just so I can get a body count of how many people are dumb enough to actually do this. Real talk though, if you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications. I post videos like this every day. Get yourself some of the OG Sub Club or Haha merch, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. Oh, and follow Scrubby Stories on TikTok, by the way. Great content. 10 out of 10.
Alright, last week we talked a lot about stupid TikTok challenges, and I don't think this is as dumb as like posting on TikTok how to start a car without a key and then being surprised cars get stolen. But a lady was in like a work conference call thing, and I guess she decided to make a TikTok in the work call and then was flabbergasted that the company did not like that when you could hear the conference call audio in the background. Companies are run by boomers, bro. It's not a bunch of like Gen Z millennial people yet. I would just avoid making TikToks at work if you can. Imagine trying to explain to your 65-year-old boss, no, I'm not dancing on the job. I'm doing the latest trend. Come on. TikToker gets fired from tech job for posting during work meeting. I feel like a tech job changes things too, because isn't TikTok the app that's just like always spying on you, you know? The boss of the company she got fired from is like, hey, we just don't want everybody to be able to use your phone to get all of our secret information. I feel like posting a TikTok at work is one thing. Like, I don't think your boss is gonna be stoked if he looks outside when you're supposed to be doing something and you're just busting down, hitting the renegade like it's 2018. But you really can't be surprised that they weren't thrilled about you recording a TikTok during a meeting. I understand it was probably a Zoom meeting, but they're probably going over like quarterly figures. Oh yeah, our profit is up like 80%. What a great week. Hey Sharon, what's the news on that new deal we were working on? They look over, one of them is just like, I really hate my job, doing a dance to like the I hate my job song or whatever trend is going on TikTok this week. TikTok is really just out here trying to ruin America, you know, trying to get people fired for their stupid dances. In a viral video with over 300,000 views, Shell explained that during her online morning meeting at 4:30 a.m., she noticed she accidentally forgot to place a mug under her Keurig machine, spilling coffee all over the place. Instead of cleaning it up and heading back to the meeting, she decided to film a quick little snippet of coffee everywhere along with her reaction to the spill, then uploaded it to TikTok. But what she didn't realize was the conference call was audible in the background, which later revealed to her company that she was filming a TikTok during the meeting, and as a result, she was fired. Hold up, I gotta side with her for one more second real quick. A 4:30 a.m. meeting? There's a guaranteed way to make sure all your employees really don't enjoy working for you. Make sure they get up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't think she would have been caught if she wouldn't have had the audio in the background. Like, that's probably what really made them have to do something, is you could hear some, like, classified company stuff in the background. I just think filming it, like, while you're working is probably not the best idea. But if you're gonna film it while you're working, you really gotta make sure they can't hear anything in the background and make out where you were. I think the company is definitely run by boomers, the type that think that waking up at 4:30 a.m. just automatically makes everything better. If you wake up early and you grind, you will win. It's like, yeah, but like, what if we wake up at 8 a.m. and we still grind and we stay until 7 instead of 5? Well, that doesn't work. Sure, it's the exact same amount of man hours, but we need to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and get our meeting on. If you get fired from the place that has regular 4:30 a.m. meetings, is that a punishment, or do you just kind of consider it dodging a bullet? Like, hey, whatever. Yeah, sucks that I lost that job, but I'll go make TikToks at a place that has meetings a little bit later in the day when I can actually be awake. Just be careful out there, you know? The boomers don't love social media, but they're not as unaware as they used to be. You used to probably be able to film a TikTok, tell them it was a commercial or something, and they would just believe it. They're catching on. Be careful where you're making TikToks at work. They might fire you, okay? You don't want to get fired. In this economy, whoo-wee, no thank you. All that for 300,000 views, too. I'm not saying that's not a lot of views, but I feel like losing your job for that many views does not seem like a worthwhile trade-off.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a continuation of one of the series we've had on the channel, which is the Dream series, dude. I had this crazy dream last night that I was like literally in Among Us with all my YouTube friends and Jake from State Farm for some reason, and I wrote it all down as soon as I woke up because I just feel like it would make a good video, so that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you're not interested in that, too bad, so sad. You have to watch the entire video. Yeah, that's right. You signed a contract when you agreed to the terms of service. That's why you should read them. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the weirdest game of Among Us that I think I've ever played in my head.
It's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a feeling.
Alright, so before I had gone to bed that night, I had just been sitting in like a server, in the Scuff server, with a couple of my friends. Dark Dom was there, Bumpkin, Fainted, like that group of guys. And we had just kind of been playing Among Us, doing our thing, just vibing, whatever. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not played a lot of Among Us. Like, the gameplay you're seeing in this story are probably the only times I've ever really played. So I guess for whatever reason, because I was a noob, it was like super present in my mind. I had played that one time with a couple of my IRLs when my best friend, or like my friend, got mad at me, and I had played now, and then I'm in the gameplay. Like, those are the 3 times I've ever really played. So anyways, I guess it's in my subconscious because I pass out and I like not wake up, but I like open my eyes and I'm on this bunk bed looking thing, and I look around and everything looks kind of metal and like futuristic-y. And as I'm looking around, just trying to figure out what's going on because I don't really know what's popping, I walk by and Benji is there. And it's like the person, not the Discord avatar. And he lives in Norway. So I'm really confused. And he looks at me and like all nonchalantly just kind of explains that we're in Among Us right now. And I guess my own brain thinks I'm dumb enough where I need an NPC giving me a tutorial in my own head. But hey, I'm not sure if I should take that as an insult. Regardless, he kind of tells me that we're like in an Among Us ship and we got to figure out what's going on. And I'm going to be honest, when he tells me this, I'm not really too excited at the idea of playing Among Us, okay? I'm built for telling stories on the internet. I'm not really built to try to figure out who's sabotaging and throwing people out of airlocks. I'm gonna leave that to the professionals like Corpse Husband. I'm just not trying to vibe with any of that. I'm too nice to be accusing people of murder, okay? That's just not on my resume. All jokes aside, dude, when you're when you're like having a dream and one of your best friends tells you that somebody on this ship is an imposter, it doesn't feel too great because he starts walking around and he tells me that all my other friends are also here, like Dark Dom, you know, Fainted, Bumpkin, Cyrus, all those guys. And for some reason, I don't know why, he also mentions that Jake from State Farm is also in the ship. I actually did recently switch insurance. I don't have State Farm, so I don't know why Jake was there, but regardless, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this is my brain telling me that I should have gone with State Farm. I made a mistake. Regardless, Jake from State Farm, we're all vibing, doing our things, and I start going and doing my tasks like a good good, kid, because that's just how I do it. I don't know about you, but I'm a team player in Among Us. You know, I get my tasks done. I try to help everyone succeed. I'm not a selfish type of MVP player. I'm the Tom Brady of Among Us. Some people would say, you know, I don't know who, definitely not anyone I've ever played with, but some people would probably say I'm the Tom Brady of Among Us. And I'm going about my business doing my tasks, and I'm going to be honest, it felt like the ship was a lot bigger when I was the one walking around it. Like, yeah, in the game, you know, I feel like I've got a good idea now. At first I didn't, but now I kind of know how to get around, dude. But when I was in my dream, dude, I'm lost. I'm like walking into walls and stuff, and I'm sure I'm not usually this dumb, but you try suddenly trying to like be in Among Us, okay? It's just a little bit weird, and it's not, it wasn't like super exciting. It genuinely was kind of boring, because just imagine having a dream where you're walking around like emptying trash cans, dude. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people think that like, oh, Ryan, you have such vivid dreams, dude. Like, do you dream you're in video games? Yeah, apparently the one time I do, I pick the most boring video game ever, where my job is to just like avoid getting yeeted and fix the electrical system, dude. I basically got the 9 to 5 simulator going out here fixing electrical systems like I'm an electrician. But anyways, as I'm going about my business, emptying the O2, emptying the trash, doing all that stuff, this emergency meeting gets called, and all of a sudden it's me and everybody, and we're just all around, and Jake starts talking about how he saw someone yeet PewDiePie in the control room, and he knew who it was because he saw him do it, and he points at Dark Dom, and I didn't even realize that PewDiePie had been playing, but apparently he had gotten his comeuppance in the Among Us control room. But Jake from State Farm immediately out the gate just starts throwing accusations at Dark Dom. And listen, I don't know if you guys do this too, but Dark Dom's my boy, bro. We have a podcast together. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to let Jake from State Farm with his ugly khakis and okay insurance come in here and start accusing my homie of, you know, being mean to PewDiePie. Me and all my homies support PewDiePie, so I'm not a fan of Jake from State Farm. You can't come in and just attack my friend and accuse him of some awful stuff. So I turn around and I start yelling at Jake from State Farm that he has to be the imposter because he was so quick to throw out an accusation. You know, I'm not going to throw my friend out of an airlock because I just feel like that would violate bro code. What am I going to do? Hey, Dom, sorry. I know that we said we were best friends, but I'm about to throw you into space. Like, come on, man. Even if he was the imposter, dude, I can't do that to my friend. Maybe that's on me. Maybe that's why I have so many stories about my friends effing me over. But regardless, I can't throw Dark Dom out of an airlock, especially not with Jake from State Farm's word. Like, I don't know this dude. How do I know Jake from State Farm isn't a liar? Have you guys ever met him? I'm just saying, none of us don't know that Jake from State Farm would be really good at making people think that he's telling the truth in Among Us. We've never played with him. Regardless, Jake from State Farm immediately gets super defensive, and he starts accusing me of being the other imposter because I'm trying to cover for Dom. So now everybody's just yelling at each other, and this part seemed really familiar because this is just what Discord is like, when everybody's just yelling at the same time and you're like trying to pick out beats and pieces and you can only hear certain words from certain people at certain times. Like, it was just a confusing mess. But regardless, eventually we end up deciding that Jake from State Farm has to be the imposter because he got so mad when other people accused him of being the imposter that he has to have been trying to cover it up, which dream logic definitely isn't the best. Yeah, if somebody accused you of yeeting someone, you're probably gonna get a little bit defensive, especially if the punishment is like getting thrown out of the airlock. So my bad, Jake from State Farm, dude. I'm not saying it was the best logic, but we end up throwing Jake from State Farm out of the airlock. It was very sad. Everyone put an F in the chat. I low-key third imposter Jake from State Farm, but it wasn't real. Like, it was a dream. So I don't think it actually counts. Like, yeah, I might have accidentally third impostered a little bit with the iconic insurance salesman, but it is what it is. Nothing you can really do about it, and especially if it's in a dream. Anyways, it's like the next round, and it's me, Bumpkin, and Dark Dom. You know, the Scuffed Cast, which it is a podcast. I'll put a link down below if you guys want to check it out. No pressure, though. But it was me, Bumpkin, and Dom, the Scuffed Boys, going around trying to explore. We're doing all our tasks, and everybody's having a good time. And out of nowhere, Dark Dom disappears for a bit, bro. And it's just me and Bumpkin. And we decided to just go to the reactors, dude. I don't know where Dark Dom went, but me and Bumpkin are just like, hey, we're going to go down to the reactors, do our thing, fix them because that's just what we do. We take care of this ship. Everybody knows that Scrubby and Bumpkin are the ultimate maintenance duo. Who needs Esteban in the Tipton when you have me and Bumpkin? You know, that's what I'm saying. So we're in the reactors and Bumpkin's telling me this story or something, and he stops talking, and I turn around and Dark Dom is just yeeting Bumpkin, bro. Like, absolutely destroying him in the Among Us way, where you just for lack of a better term, just make their head no more be there. Like, he just yeets Bumpkin in Among Us form right in front of me, dude. He didn't even try to hide it. Wasn't trying to be sneaky. Didn't like take him to a corner away so he could hide it. No, he just yeets Bumpkin right in front of me. And I feel so betrayed, dude, because I just defended Dom. Like, I yeeted Jake from State Farm out of an airlock, dude. My car insurance is gonna be through the roof now because of you, Dom. I can never get a rate again. And you just betrayed me? Like, you let me be that dumb, bro? You couldn't even vouch for Jake and not make me look like an idiot? You had to betray me this hard, dude? And the fact that you got Bumpkin? We have a podcast. We're supposed to be cool, dude. You can't be going around eating your teammates. If I was playing Among Us with people from my podcast, and if I was the imposter, I just wouldn't hurt them because that's the bro code, man. You can't be doing that. Yeah, and here he was, straight up betraying the Scuffed Cast. And for what? For what, Dom? What'd you get out of it? Now you're just the bad guy in my story time, dude. And you know what Dom says in my dream, dude? He has the nerve to look at me and go, "You shouldn't have messed with a Reddit YouTuber," and he starts chasing me. So here I am, dude. In real life, I know nobody believes this. I'm 6'3", but here I am. I'm 3'6". I think that's what the Among Us people are, and I'm just trying to run everywhere with my tiny little legs, dude. I didn't know how short people felt when they were trying to exercise, but y'all really got to be feeling like hamsters when you're trying to run. I really do apologize. I sympathize now when people say their legs are getting tired, dude, because trying to outrun an angry Reddit YouTuber is horrifying when you only have tiny legs. Like, I was trying to be frantic. I probably looked like Wile E. Coyote in the cartoons where they're just drawing the legs as swirls because he's trying to run so fast. I'm probably going Mach 10, and he's just on my tail like, "You shouldn't have messed with a Redditor. You shouldn't have messed with a Redditor." And look, Dom is not a neckbeard in real life. Like, yeah, he makes Reddit videos, but Dom is not like a Redditor. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, in my dream, dude, I look back, and this time, he's telling me that I should be afraid of the Redditor, and he has a fedora on. So I don't know what happened to Dom. I don't know if my brain was just like he's secretly a neckbeard. But the man is chasing me with a fedora on, all right? So apparently, for whatever reason, Dom just loses every amount of swag that he has in Dream World. So I'm running, and I'm realizing in my dream that I'm probably about to get crapped on by a Redditor with a fedora, dude. And nothing really makes you disappointed quite like that. Like, I'm not saying I ever expected to be chased through a spaceship by somebody trying to game end me, but if I did, I was really hoping that they wouldn't be wearing a fedora. Like, if I'm gonna go out like that, if I'm gonna go out with some crazy person chasing me, I'd prefer if they were like 6'7" and a super athlete who ran in the Olympics. So that way, when they catch me, I can at least be like, "Well, I tried," you know, a little bit. Sure, I'm gone either way, but like, at least then I can pretend that, "Oh man, you're just better than me." But like, dude, if Dark Dom catches me, I just take the L out here, man. Like, what am I supposed to do? How do I explain that to my grandma when I get up to the pearly gates? "Oh, my bad, the Redditor got me?" No, that's a bad idea. Anyways, I run into the cafeteria with the might of 1,000 men, dude, and I run over to that kitchen table, or the cafeteria table, I guess, and I press the emergency meeting button, and I come in, and it's me, Dom, Ben, no more Jake from State Farm, and then, like, some people I didn't recognize. I don't know, man. Maybe my brain just picked some side characters, dude. We on some main character stuff right now. Hi, I'm gonna interrupt the video for a second. I guess a majority of people who watch these videos aren't subscribed, so if you wouldn't mind taking a second to press the subscribe button and turn on notifications, I'd appreciate it. It's free. You can always unsub, but like, hey, I mean, why not? I post story times, dude. They can't be that bad, right? Regardless, as soon as I call the meeting, dude, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, dude, Jake from State Farm wasn't the imposter, so I think it was Scrubby, dude. I think Scrubby's the imposter, man. I really do." Because I third impostered, and I start telling everybody, no, do not put that foul action on me. Jake from State Farm's blood is on my hands. Yes, that may be true. On accident. I really do respect Jake from State Farm. He's done quite a lot for the insurance community. I mean no disrespect. It was really an accident. I just thought you were the imposter. What was I supposed to do? I was trying to keep my people safe. I gotta do what I gotta do. But ladies and gentlemen, although I might make mistakes, I'll tell you this, I'm not the imposter because it's that guy. And I point over at Dark Dom with his dumb fedora, and he has this smile on his face, dude, and he's like, come on, that's so unlikely. Me, the imposter, are you kidding me? You're gonna have to come up with a better story than that to get people to believe you. And I'm like, no, we were in the reactors, man. I watched you just straight up yeet Bumpkin. Rest in peace. Rest in pepperoni. And then it happens, man. Like, somebody else asked me, why didn't you report down in reactor then? Like, why did you run to the emergency meeting button? And I'm like, well, you know, he was chasing me. What was I supposed to do? And they all are like, I don't know. That's kind of sus to me. Seems like you were running away from him, you know? Like, he was trying to report and you tried to report first so that way you couldn't tell on you, or like you vented the cafeteria. Bro, they're all turning on me. I didn't do it. I just watched Dark Dom yeet Bumpkin, man. Rest in peace, Bumpkin. 2020 to 2020, dude. It's just a sad day. And I always assumed whenever I was going to be in one of these situations, like the person who was just wrong was going to force ghost in, like in Star Wars. Like any moment now, dude, a glowing blue version of Bumpkin was just going to stand on the table and be like, no, Ryan tells the truth. I was not betrayed. But even in my dreams, I take L's, man. So I'm just being accused of being the imposter and self-reporting and all this stuff, and I didn't do it. I'm trying to maintain my innocence, but nobody believes me, man, because I did kind of eject Jake from State Farm. Like, I understand their distrust. I really do. It was not intentional. I'm sorry, Jake. I really do regret it. But look, you were being sus, bro. You were just being sus. You were. You accused my friend too fast. I'm too loyal, man. That's what I'm learning from this. I really just have to unfriend every Reddit YouTuber that I know. That's how you avoid these situations in Among Us. Regardless, man, none of them believe me, so the vote comes, and sure enough, I get voted out. And I realize now how Jake from State Farm, truly felt in that moment, man. I was so mad, bro. I was really about to fight Dom, dude. So regardless, I get like tossed out of the airlock, which you're just really never ready for as a person, man. You might think you're ready to just face the blackness of space. It's not too fun. For whatever reason though, like I'm fine. Like I didn't die, which is weird. I feel like if I go out in space with no suit, I've always thought that I was instantly just gonna be like, oh no, no more. But apparently I was fine. I was just chilling, just kind of floating there, dude, just thinking. And then I woke up like a little bit later after floating in space for a bit, and I don't know why, like I didn't realize it was a dream right away, dude. So I picked up my phone, I sent Dom a text basically being like, I hate you, you know, but like I wasn't being serious, you know. I was just like, dude, why did you do that? Like I thought for some reason that he would have also known what happened. I don't know what I was thinking, man. And he just texted me back later that morning. He was like, what are you talking about, dude? Like what are you talking about? Among Us last night when we were all playing? And I was like, no, I'll have to tell you later. And so we got in a Discord call. I told him everything. Bumpkin was there too, and they were like, honestly, man, you should probably post that on the Storytime channel, because that was pretty funny. So that's what I decided to do. Hopefully you enjoyed me getting trapped in Among Us in my dream. I know this was an absolutely ridiculous video, but I had a bunch of fun making it, so whatever. I guess it's the W for me. If you enjoyed, though, I would really appreciate you taking a second to just press the like button and let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. It just helps the video do better, and I'd appreciate it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys would have done. Should I have voted out Jake from State Farm? Should I have not? What should I have done? And also, if you don't know what to comment, okay, just comment the word sugarcane, like in Minecraft. Do that. And yeah, if you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications. I really do post videos like this every day. They're not always as weird, I pinky promise, but I do post every day, so you should turn them on. And yeah, other than that, check out some of the OG Sub Club and Haha merch. They will both be listed in the descriptions down below. My TikTok is @Scrubby Stories and @Scrubby with 2 S's. I got 2 because I'm just so fresh, so clean. My Twitter is @Scrubby_69. Instagram is just @Scrubby. And yeah, don't get anyone pregnant whatsoever. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. You will never be able to go to Barbados. Yeah, that's right, guys. That tropical island where Rihanna's from is pretty fantastic, and if you don't press the like button, you're simply never gonna be able to go. Real talk, though, guys, today I have a story from my youth when I would skate around and get into trouble, and I didn't get myself into trouble in this situation. I just witnessed some trouble in a parking lot. But regardless, watching somebody kick in the windshield of a car for the first time sticks with you, so let's get into it.
It's so good, it's not good. Nice rack and her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a feeling.
Alright guys, what's going on? So if you skate, you understand that sometimes skate parks get a little bit boring. You can only skate the same thing over and over and over and over again before you get a little bored. So every now and then, and especially towards the end of like when I would skate a bunch, me and my friends would just kind of go look for stuff to skate in parking lots or, you know, like near schools, parks, all that good type of stuff, because half the fun was like skating around and trying to find the stuff to skate, and then when you found it, you had to figure out how it worked and whatnot, and like what you could do on it. It was just a good time. And one day we were in front of this paint store. It was like a Sherwin-Williams paint store, and I remember because I never had like been in front of a paint store before. I thought people just went to Lowe's, but sure enough, there is a store here that's called Sherwin-Williams, and it sells only paint. And it was dead. There was only one car in the parking lot, and it was like a really, really nice Mercedes, and there was a couple inside that was talking. And we weren't like spying on them or anything. We just pulled up, and I could see that there was a guy and the girl talking. So we obviously didn't want to bug them. I don't know if the paint store was closed today or like if it's just not very busy because not many people go to the paint store, but for whatever reason, that was the only car in the parking lot. So me and my friends start skating this like little stair set in front of this paint store, just doing our thing and vibing. And maybe about 10 minutes into it, we hear some noises coming from that one car in the parking lot. And we look over, and this couple is now arguing with each other, like pretty loudly, to the point where we can kind of hear bits and pieces outside of the car. It's not very loud, but it's just enough where you can like tell that they're arguing, you know, like no, 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 no. But from much further away, that was probably not the best example, but I can just kind of hear like muffled loud noises. So sure enough, we're sitting there just kind of doing our thing skating, and the noises start to get louder and louder, and they're kind of yelling, and then all of a sudden, one of the doors flies open off this car, and out steps this girl, and she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And we're all kind of, you know, looking over now, trying to get a glimpse of what's going on, because when drama starts going down in the parking lot and I'm here skating, yeah, I'm gonna eavesdrop, okay? Listen, I understand that makes me nosy, but whatever, I'm nosy, deal with it. I don't know what you want me to do. Maybe don't have your fights in the middle of a parking lot with a bunch of kids around if you don't want me being nosy, all right? I can't help the fact that your fight seems more interesting than whatever's currently going on near me. Anyways, this girl is screaming at the guy for something, and he starts yelling back about how she's done it before too and whatnot, and then she says something along the lines of, "Yeah, well, I slept with your best friend, so it's not like it matters anyways." And at this point, all of us are like, jaw dropped. You know what I'm saying? Because 10 seconds ago, it looked like it was a couple arguing, and now she's just hitting him with some gut-wrenching facts. And he's like, "Yeah, well, your best friend's hotter than you anyways, and that's why I cheated on her with you." And they're just screaming back and forth, dude. And you know when someone's arguing about something and you know that, like, you're not supposed to be hearing it, so you just are kind of just sitting there watching it, hoping you don't get noticed? That's me. Because I know for a fact this couple is not aware of the fact that there's 5 teenagers sitting here watching them scream about the fact that they both have cheated on each other with the other person's best friend. Like, call me crazy. Most people probably don't want that being screamed loudly in a parking lot. There's just not much else for them to really do about it. You know what I mean? So we're all watching this, and then the girl looks over, like, right after she had heard this guy say that he slept with her best friend, and she looks at us and goes, "What are you looking at?" And at this point, usually what we should have done is keep our mouth shut. And I don't say anything. I look away because I realize I'm not supposed to be looking. But one of my friends, for whatever reason, goes, "I don't know, what are you guys doing?" Which, like, listen, should not have been that funny, dude. But this girl is rage screaming at us, asking what we're staring at. And he's like, "I don't know, what are you guys doing?" So she tells us to F off and quit being nosy. And we're like, okay, so we kind of just slowly look away and go back to skating the stairs because we're not gonna move. And without missing a beat, she goes back to yelling at her boyfriend, telling him all these awful things. Like, I can't even repeat it without being demonetized. She wasn't even swearing, bro. She was just like tearing this dude down. It was brutal. And he gets out of the car and he's like, "Yeah, well then you can walk home." And she's like, "You're gonna make me walk home?" And he's like, "I don't know. You're saying all this horrible stuff to me. I don't know what else I should do." And she said, "Yeah, well, good luck driving like this." And then she had this purse on her arm the whole time, and it's a pretty big purse, but she takes this purse and grabs it by the handle and like picks it up over her head, kind of like she's, you know, like a samurai sword about to yeet down on somebody, and just swings it as hard as she can at the windshield. Keep in mind, this is like a nice Mercedes, and I don't know what was in that purse. I don't know if it was bricks or like, you know, if there was spikes on the purse or something. I was pretty far away, but sure enough, when that windshield gets hit, dude, it just cracks and just shatters. Like, not shatters in terms of imploding, but if you've ever seen a cracked windshield, you know what I mean. She hit it in one corner, and the crack just spiderwebbed all the way across the entire windshield. And at this point, once again, we're all still watching, and all of us let out an audible like, "Oh!" at that point, because look, yeah, I know you told us not to look, but we kept watching, and we just watched you single-handedly cave in a windshield with your purse. So she looks over and starts screaming at us to stop watching once again, which at this point just isn't gonna work, okay? Now I'm definitely not. Like, before, I could understand you not wanting me to watch you and your boyfriend argue, but I'm guessing it's over now. Usually when you're smashing in somebody's windshield, you're at the point of letting the relationship go. And the guy gets out of the car and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And she says, "This," and jumps on the hood of the car. Not like literally like a Spider-Man. Climbs on the hood of the car is probably a better description. I don't want you guys thinking that this girl is strong enough to smash a windshield with a purse and then like levitate onto a car. But she gets on top of the car and starts just kicking in the windshield, dude. And now when she starts kicking it, it starts like falling all over the driver's seat. The guy's out of the car. And finally, she hops off and she's like, "Screw you," and just starts walking past this paint store into the shopping center. And I really don't know what was going on, bro. I think that they probably both just sucked or something, because the guy, as weird as this sounds, after she walks away, yells something at her about like, "Oh my God, you're gonna pay for my car," and then just got in his car and drove away, dude. And what's even crazier about all this is from start to finish, like the start of the argument to the girl breaking the windshield, kicking it in, and then the boyfriend just casually driving away like nothing happened, was maybe 3.5 minutes, dude. So yeah, it's taken me a while to tell the story, but imagine being me. You're just sitting there 1 second skating in front of a store. Next thing you know, some girl is like beating in the windshield of a car, stomping on it. They're screaming at each other, and then just as fast as it happens, they just leave. They just leave, and they left separately, dude. I was so confused on what was going on, genuinely. And like, before anyone says that we should have called the cops or something, before we left, we kept skating. Cops did pull up into the parking lot and were talking to a couple store owners, so I think somebody else called. I was just a teenage kid. Like, now, yeah, I probably should have called the cops, but I didn't know what to do, bro. I was just sitting back like, oh my God, what is going on? Because that's what you do when you're a kid. You don't really know what's up. Seriously, though, that stuck with me, dude. To this day, I can picture perfectly visually in my head this lady just kicking in her windshield while screaming at her boyfriend. And I'm gonna be honest, if you want to avoid having your car window kicked in, first of all, don't date crazy people on either side. Don't date crazy girls, don't date crazy guys. And also, advice for both of you, maybe don't date people that are gonna sleep with your best friend. I'm just saying that. Like, all of this could have been avoided. You still would have had a windshield if you just didn't sleep with her best friend. And, you know, maybe you guys just weren't meant to be. If you guys hated each other that much, maybe it's a good thing she broke your windshield, bro. Just saying. Obviously, it's not okay to ever break anyone's windshield. I'm just goofing off. I'm not being serious, okay? Don't go in the comment section and pretend that that's what I'm saying. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to just press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the video. I guess you don't have to do it, but I would really appreciate it. Go ahead and comment the word windshield down below. It just helps the video do better, and I'd appreciate it. And I'm not even kidding. Seriously, no joke, no scam. Please press the like button. I've just noticed that I get more views if the video gets more likes. So yeah, I don't know. I'm begging now. Whatever. Judge me if you want. And on that note, be sure to check out the OG Sub Club and Haha merch. The intro song will be in the description down below. Check out the Scuffed Cast. It's my new podcast. The episode link will also be down below. And on that note, I've got nothing left to plug. So don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, try to make sure that they're attractive. And also try to make sure that you don't date anyone willing to kick out your windshield. Just some good advice. And I'll see you guys next time. Don't get anyone pregnant if you do. Make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam.
You're gonna get an evil stepmom. Yeah, that's right, guys. I wouldn't want to risk getting an evil stepmom myself, so I would just go ahead and press the like button to avoid all chances of that. Real talk, though, guys, today I have a subscriber story that was sent in about this dude's stepmom who's just apparently absolutely bonkies, and, I just felt like it was worth sharing. It was a pretty entertaining story to read. Thankfully, they're out of that situation now, but it sounded pretty insane, so I figured I'd share it with you guys, and, without further ado, let's get right into the swag. Enjoy the Cold War gameplay. The game's fun, by the way.
It's so good, it's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a feeling.
All right. So I'm gonna skip the part about his parents getting divorced just because he asked me to, and that's a very personal thing, and it just doesn't actually matter to the story. But all you gotta know is about 2 years after his parents ended up splitting up, his dad started dating this new woman who at the time seemed fantastic. Like, it was one of those situations where somebody seems good on paper, and his family loved her, like his grandma and his aunts and stuff, and his dad really liked her, but for whatever reason, he just thought that she was shady. He couldn't put his finger on it, but something about the way that she would act around him and everybody else just made him uncomfortable. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but when I read this, I understood what he was saying. Basically, he was saying, when somebody is too perfect, they fit in too well, there's no adjustments from anything, they never seem to disagree with anyone about anything type of situation. That was what was going on. She just always agreed. She was always go with the flow, to the point of it being suspicious. And I understand that, sometimes people are just very go with the flow people, but this was an instance where something about it just seemed fake. So sure enough, after dating for a bit and then getting along really well, his dad is like, all right, I'm gonna marry her. And the kid is not too happy about this. He just has a bad feeling about it. But once again, what is he gonna say? Oh, she fits in too well with the family, you shouldn't date her? That just sounds ridiculous. He didn't have a reason not to like her, just something about her was off to him, right? So the dad goes through with it, they get married, they have this big wedding, and all of a sudden, as soon as the wedding happens, she goes from fitting in and getting along with everybody to suddenly having this vendetta against this kid and trying to get his dad to do everything he can to get him out of the picture now that they were married and it wasn't a situation where he could just break up with her. And I don't personally have step parents, but every time a subscriber sends in a story about their crazy step parent, I feel like that's usually what happens. Is they're super, super nice, and then as soon as they get married for whatever reason, it's like a switch is flipped. And apparently this lady was just basically hell-bent on making him miserable, but not in the normal ways that evil step parents do, not letting him hang out with his friends or taking away his Xbox or anything, but what she would do was just really subtle things to mess with him, right? To this day, he doesn't have proof of this, but every week, without fail, his toothbrush was just going missing. And the kid was like, there's no way I'm losing my toothbrush. This has never happened. As soon as this girl moves in with us, my toothbrush just starts going missing every week. And he didn't have proof that she's doing it, but he just had a feeling, because whenever he would bring up that his toothbrush had gone missing again, she would cause a massive deal about it and tell him how irresponsible he was and make this big deal in front of his dad about how maybe it was better for him to go live with his mom so he could learn some responsibility. But there's no way this kid was actually losing his toothbrush every week. Stuff like that started happening where she was doing things where it was trying to get rid of him in a weird way without actually trying to get rid of him or starting beef. He can't directly go to her and accuse her of hiding his toothbrushes because that sounds paranoid and insane. Dad, listen, you need to divorce your wife immediately because she's stealing my toothbrushes. Doesn't exactly sound like something that it's very easy to get your parents on board with, especially because for some reason, I don't know why, parents just refuse to believe their kids. I remember being younger, I would tell my parents things that were true or going to happen, and they just wouldn't believe me because they thought I was a kid and dumb. I'm sorry. And now imagine trying to tell your dad that he needs to get a divorce because your toothbrushes keep going missing. He's probably gonna look at you like you're a crazy person. After the toothbrush thing wasn't working, though, she really started to up the ante and get a little bit more direct. She would go out of her way after his sports games to tell him everything that he did wrong. Once she realized that she wasn't going to be able to get him out of the house by, making him look irresponsible, she just started basically attacking him whenever she got the chance and his dad wasn't around, to make him hate living there so he could move. And once again, it was never in ways where, the kid could go to his dad and say she she was overtly being mean. Like, let's say that he struck out at baseball. On the way home, she would just ream into him about how much he sucks at baseball and how he's pathetic and like all the money they're spending on it is a waste. And then they would get home and he's like, oh, you're being mean to me. And she's like, no, I was just trying to motivate him because he didn't play very well. Like shady stuff like that, where technically she didn't do anything wrong, but she just started unironically trying to make him miserable, Bo. And those are the worst type of people to be around, where they just tear you down for every little mistake, dude. Like, you spell one word wrong in a text, and she would send him messages back basically implying that he was stupid and needed to pay more attention in school because he had too many typos when he texted. And like, Jesus, dude, a kid having typos when they text is just genuinely not that big of a deal. This kid, though, apparently like took it as a personal challenge to outlast her. He was trying to prove that he was stronger than this evil lady that was getting it, trying to get him to like split up from hanging out with his dad and whatnot. So he kind of starts to have more tenacity about it and starts kind of pushing her buttons back, which is totally fair. If you're gonna push his buttons and start going after him, he starts going after her. He purposely like isn't cleaning his room, he's leaving the kitchen a mess, all these things that he knows that she's gonna get mad at, but how mad she's getting just makes her look unstable. Like, look, I'm a teenage boy, I've left the kitchen a mess, I've made my parents mad at me by doing that, but I'm gonna be honest, they also are intelligent enough to be like, hey, this isn't worth trying to take my Xbox for 5 months, I can just get him to clean the kitchen. But this lady was not having any of that. But he just starts kind of baiting her into looking unstable. So she starts losing it over every like little tiny mistake that he makes. And obviously the dad kind of starts to notice that it almost appears like she doesn't like his son. And wouldn't you believe it, when you stop putting on an act and pretending to like somebody's kid, chances are it bugs him, dude. So his dad one day, I guess, pulled her aside just to ask if she had any beef with his kid and whatnot. And she thought that it was her time to like go off and say what a horrible kid he was and all this stuff. So she just starts laying into him to the kid's dad. And after she's done, the dad was like, all right, are you done? And when she said yes, he said, all right, perfect. Now I need you to move out because I'm not picking you over my son. Which, like, every time this happens, I just genuinely think, does it ever work out for the step parent? Like, does hating somebody's kid and trying to ruin that relationship ever work out for you? Or 9 times out of 10, I feel like it just ruins your own marriage. Because how am I going to be married to somebody that just hates my kid? Like, that seems way more complicated than just not marrying somebody. If you hated the kid so much, why would you marry his dad? It just seems like a really backwards decision. Regardless, once all that went down and she realized that she was about to get cut off and actually move out, she started trying to be like all nice to the kid and trying to repair the relationship. But at that point, it's too late. Like, if you spend 6 months trying to get somebody to hate you, chances are they're gonna hate you. Unless you're really bad at being a bad person, chances are that they aren't gonna like you. And even then, dude, how do you expect me to get along with somebody that unironically has like told me how stupid I am? I'm sorry. I don't like being around people that, you know, don't make me giggle or feel good as a person. And any lady that's willing to like attack a child and try to get him to move out is not the type of people that I'm personally trying to hang out with. Yo, it's a Friday night, let's invite that lady over who constantly attacks people for no reason. Like, I just highly doubt that anybody has that person on the list of people that they're actually trying to hang out with, you know? Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to follow Scrubby Stories on TikTok. Check out the Scuffed Podcast, which is down below in the description. And check out the merch as well. Both the HaHa and OG Sub Club merch is out. But as I've said, the Scrubby Stories TikTok, I post highlights over there, and you guys should check it out. You know, it would help me out, help me get some new viewers, and I'd appreciate it. Other than that, comment the word, I don't know, stepmom down below if you enjoyed the video. It helps it do better and recommend it, and I would really appreciate it. Other than that, I just wanted to take a second to say thank you to everybody still watching the videos. The channel has been picking up again. I know it's been a little bit since I've really been popping, but now that it's getting back up, I just want you guys to know that I am very grateful and appreciative for everything you guys do for me. I know it's a lot, and I know I post a lot, and you guys supporting me really does mean the world. But on that note, I'm gonna quit being a cornball and get out of here. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm gonna go marry an angry woman now who's gonna yell at me about how awful my kids are. Yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. You're gonna get punched in the face by an angry man screaming, "Give me back my phone," when it's been your phone the entire time, and you don't want that to happen, so press the like button. Real talk though, guys, today I've got a story time about a time a teacher stole my phone and then tried to deny it when I pressed him about it, and you know, that's just straight up not cool. I don't think educators should be stealing from their students, but apparently that just is what happens sometimes. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video because it's time to get that content rolling.
It's so good, it's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a feeling.
Alright, what's poppin' and oppin', ladies and gentlemen? One thing that I've never understood why people steal in the 21st century is cell phones, because I feel like literally everybody and their mom already has one. But apparently one of my teachers just didn't get the memo and like tried to claim that my phone was theirs and just looked real stupid. I'm not really sure what their plan was. But yeah, it takes place in middle school, which actually makes it even worse because like stealing a phone from a high schooler, you know, at least at that point, that takes some effort. But just taking a phone from like a 13-year-old is just ridiculous. So regardless, this story takes place in 7th grade, and I was just doing my thing, vibing. And it was right when smartphones were becoming normal. I'm a little bit older than most of you, so like I had a smartphone, but it was one of those first generation Androids with the screens that were like basically plastic, you know, they really sucked to touch. The batteries would be dead in an hour. It was a really garbage phone. But that being said, it was a smartphone, which at the time was still relatively new. Like I think the iPhone 4 was coming out that year in terms of the smartphone game. So it was pretty new, and I had saved up all summer to buy it with my own money. I had been working odd jobs. I had taken the money I had gotten from like selling sodas and whatnot, and I had decided to buy this smartphone and get myself a cell phone plan. So I had gotten it, and I was very hyped, and I had taken it to school, and sure enough, because I'm in 7th grade, I'm a little bit stupid, so I'm like using it in class, which I don't recommend, okay? I shouldn't have been doing it, I'm not gonna lie. But my teacher at the time walks up behind me and asks me what I'm doing, and I'm not even kidding when I say I was scrolling through iFunny, that like dead meme app. So I was scrolling through iFunny. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like looking at memes, and he asked me, he's like, "Is that a smartphone?" And I said, "Yeah." And the teacher was a little bit older. He was like in his mid-50s maybe, so he was really mesmerized by smart technology. Homie was like, "I stormed the beaches of Normandy, and now you have a tablet in your pocket." You know, just one of those really old men. So he gives me this lecture about how irresponsible it is for me to have that technology and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then he says that he's going to be taking my phone. So I gave him my phone because I didn't think he was going to try to keep it, and I didn't want there to be any more trouble. Like, I wasn't trying to disrupt the class. I was just being stupid, and I knew if I got caught, they were going to take it. So, like, I really wasn't allowing myself to get mad about it because, if I break the rules and get caught, that's kind of on me, you know? Like, I really can't get mad about it. So, sure enough, he takes my phone, and I'm expecting to get it back at the end of the day because, you know, that's usually what teachers would do when they would take phones in other classes. So, the whole day I'm bored, you know, I'm not on my smartphone that I was hyped for, and sure enough, that's the only phone I have, so I can't call my mom and tell her anything, like, which I guess I didn't need to do that. That's just me coming up with excuses why they shouldn't have taken my phone. I'm gonna be honest, I deserved it, but whatever. I'm bored the rest of the day without my phone. But I'm sitting there, I'm bored, I'm doing my thing, and the end of the day comes and I go to his class and I'm kind of like, "Hey, can I have my phone back?" And this man has the audacity to look me in the eyes and go, "What phone?" And I'm like, "The phone you took from me during class." And he looks at me all confused and he goes, "I don't know what phone you're talking about." And at this point, I'm like, "Are you messing with me?" You know, I ask him, "Are you messing with me right now?" And he doubles down and he's like, "No, I don't know what phone you're talking about." And at this point, I'm like, all right, maybe this old man over here has started the mental decline, you know, he's going to stop forgetting how to eat. He's going to start calling his wife weird names, you know, all the mistresses he's ever had. Like, maybe it's the time where the old man's brain is slipping because there's no way he doesn't remember this. So I'm kind of like, come on, I know you have my phone. Like, remember you took it during class, I was on it. And he looks at me, he goes, "I really just have no idea what you're talking about." So I'm super confused. But then he he starts like trying to get me out of the classroom. He says, I'm trying to go home, so will you please get out of the classroom? I'm like, no, you have my phone. I need my phone. And he keeps just denying that he has my phone. He's like, no, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't know what you're talking about. Which, like, you never have felt like a crazy person quite like when somebody has taken something and they just keep denying that they've done it. And you're like, am I crazy? Maybe I never had an Android, bro. Like, this dude was actually just gaslighting 7th grade me. I was starting to think about the fact that I might not have actually gotten my phone taken away and might have lost it, dude, because he was so adamant that he didn't have it. So, whatever. I go home and I'm talking to my parents and I'm kind of like, I have a smartphone, right? I remember distinctly asking my parents just to try to make sure I wasn't a crazy person, because the dude had literally made me feel like I was nuts for asking about my smartphone. My mom was like, yeah, you had bought it yourself, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, my teacher took it and wouldn't give it back. And my dad's kind of like, well, go into him, tell him it's your property. He took it. You shouldn't be on it in class, but like he needs to give it back. So the next day I go in early in the morning and I go into his classroom and I'm like, hey, I really need my phone back. And sure enough, he's like, I don't have it. I didn't take your phone away. And I'm like, dude, you have my phone. What am I supposed to say in the situation when somebody takes something and then just straight up denies having it? So I'm like, come on, I know you have my phone. And he just won't admit having my phone. So I'm like, I really had no idea what to do. I knew that if I went to the dean's office, I was going to get in more trouble, because technically when somebody took your phone away, you were supposed to like go to the dean's office and they had to call your parents and all that stuff. So when he had just confiscated my phone, I knew I was getting lucky. So I was kind of like, didn't really know what to do, because I didn't want to get in more trouble. So I decided, I was like, look, I'll confront him one more time after school and I'll bring one of my friends and have them call my phone. Maybe if it starts ringing, there's no way he can deny having it, because I'm not even kidding. This old man, every time I asked him if he had my phone, was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never took it. And if it wasn't for people being like, nah, he took it, I might have thought I was crazy, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I've never felt more like a crazy person than when this teacher was just swearing that he had nothing to do with my phone going missing. So after school, I go in and I'm like, dude, I know you have my phone. And he starts to get mad at me. And he's like, for the last time, I had nothing to do with your phone going missing. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it was another teacher and you don't remember because you're never paying attention to anything anyways. Like, he starts getting mad, bro. So I look at my friend. I'm like, will you call it, please? And the look on his face kind of changes. Not enough to like signify that he thinks he's screwed, but enough to let him know that he's nervous. So sure enough, my friend calls my phone number and the phone starts ringing in his pocket, bro. Like, the screen lights up, it's ringing, and I'm like, dude, you have my phone. And he's like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he's like, no, I don't. And the phone is ringing in his pocket. I'm looking at it, and he's like, oh, I don't have your phone. And he's like, will you guys please leave for a second? I have to take this call. So sure enough, bro, we leave for a second, and we're kind of watching him through the door, and he hangs up the call that is coming from my friend, and he invites us back in, and he's like, oh, once you guys left, I opened my drawer, and it appears that I do have this phone. Is this your phone? And I'm like, yeah, that's my phone. And he's like, oh, silly me. I thought it belonged to somebody else. Yeah, sure, take your phone and go. And I was like, why did you take my phone? And he's like, I didn't. That phone was in my desk. I had no idea it was there. Like, he really just denied ever taking my phone, bro. I don't know how it got into his desk. My phone magically grew legs, my like version 1 Android, and hopped into my teacher's desk and had nothing to do with ringing in his pocket, dude. Like, this teacher was trying to steal my phone. I don't even know what his plan was. It had a password on it. I don't know why he kept it for a whole day. Like, Candy Crush didn't even exist yet. What were boomers doing on iPhones? Actually, I don't want to know what he might have been doing on that phone. Lonely old man with an Android that connects to an internet, bored in the middle of the day? Yeah, no thank you. I would rather not imagine the things that might have happened with that phone. That phone was garbage though, like, I'm not even kidding. The battery life, I was lucky if it made it halfway through a school day. That thing was awful, but regardless, Mr. Boomerman really wanted to steal it, dude. And ever after that, like, for the rest of the year after that, he was always really weird to me. Like, he wasn't mean to me, but he wasn't nice either. Like, he would just give me decent grades, he would let me slide on a lot of stuff, but he also like made it very clear that if I pushed too hard, there were going to be problems, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, he kind of handed me a get out of jail free card as long as I didn't push the envelope. So I'm pretty sure he knew that I knew he took it and was just really banking on the fact that I didn't have enough proof, because like, really, if I said he took it, I really couldn't prove it. Because, like, he did give it back. You know what I'm saying? He could have just said he forgot it was in his desk. Like, there was really nothing that I could do. But still, I think he was extra nice to me just to try to make sure that I wasn't ever going to go and, like, tell people that he was stealing my phone, but you know, now I'm telling the entire internet that my boomer teacher really just tried to steal my garbage smartphone. I could understand maybe a little bit more if it was like the new iPhone at the time or something, but really, that phone was a piece of garbage. I do not know why he wanted it so badly. Like, in retrospect, I probably could have sold it to him for way more than I paid for it. I should have done it. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought, and subscribe and turn on notifications. If you like this video, go ahead and comment the word Android down below. It just helps the video do better in the algorithm, and, you know, it lets me know how many of you guys actually get to the end of the videos and if I need to be less boring next time, so I would appreciate it. Other than that, you guys should check out the OG Sub Club merch now that the main channel is growing again. I actually think I might be on the way to 2 million, and once we hit 2 million, that merch is going away forever. The 2 million merch is looking pretty fire too, though. I can't even lie, so just letting you guys know about that. Other than that, you can follow me on Twitter at Scrubby_69. My Instagram is just at Scrubby because I'm just that fresh and clean, and yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. Last thing I'm gonna plug is, if you like TikTok, I've been uploading a bunch of my old videos on TikTok and parts, and if you want to go support that, it's Scrubby Stories on TikTok. Other than that, that's everything I gotta plug, so don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. You're gonna get haunted by a very angry ghost. Yeah, that's right, I found a ghost named Casper. Turns out he's a big fan of the videos, and he told me that if you didn't press the like button, he was gonna haunt you, so I wouldn't take chances. Real talk though, guys, today we have a pretty scary story that was sent into my DMs about somebody who basically caught someone trying to break into their house, which as far as terrifying goes is pretty high up there. They are okay. They told me that everything's been solved now. They don't worry about it anymore, but it definitely was a pretty insane situation, and it should be pretty entertaining for you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
It's absurd, I'm getting to the bag now. Lil' mama and she tryna call me dad now. I don't wanna hear no dumb shit better.
Alright guys, so I'm gonna keep it a buck. I personally just, the idea of someone breaking into my house is honestly one of my biggest fears, alright? Especially while I'm sleeping. I don't know, the idea of someone walking in and just watching me sleep does not get my jimmies rustled in a fun way. Regardless, this person sent in the story, and it basically opens up with something about how her and her boyfriend live together, but he works the night shift, which, you know, is how some horror movies start. You got the girl home alone at night, and some creepy dude is like, I know her boyfriend worked the night shift, I go and I kidnap. Regardless, she spends most nights alone because her boyfriend is working, and you know, if he's working, it's not like she has a slumber party every single night on a Tuesday. That being said, she had never had any problems in the house or the apartment that they lived in terms of like people breaking in or being scared at night. She thought she was in a pretty safe place, so even though her boyfriend would work at night, she just never really thought much about it. It never really crossed her mind that it was potentially a dangerous situation. That being said, you know, it's definitely not fun to be home alone. And one night, everything's going pretty normally. She makes dinner, cleans it up, everything's going to good. She goes to bed, and they had just gotten a puppy. And in the middle of the night, the puppy is just whining in the living room. And it's not a usually whiny dog. Like, it's not like this happens relatively often. This wasn't the type of dogs that's always just sitting in your backyard like this puppy very rarely made noise. So she thought maybe the puppy just had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, or, you know, that there was something kind of bugging it. Maybe there was a light on or something was making a noise, but she just figures that there's something that's got the puppy a little bit distracted. So she goes out in the living room, and remember, she's just woken up, so she's a little foggy, and she sees that the puppy is looking at the back door. So she assumes that the puppy has to go outside and go pee, because I don't know about you, but if I woke up in the middle of the night and my dog was whining staring at the back door, that would be most people's first thought. So something about her just makes the hair stick up on her neck. She suddenly just gets really nervous, and for whatever reason is just like, something's not right. So she starts paying closer attention, and she realizes that the puppy is like whimpering at the door, like it's scared. Not like it needs to go outside and whining, but it's more of a whimper. And then she hears this weird like scratching and clicking sound coming from the back door. And I guess the way they had a back door is it wasn't like a French door or a sliding door, it was just like a normal door. So she hears like scratching on the other side of the door, and she assumes it's like like a raccoon or something. So she kind of like walks over to the door and kind of like looks, and they had this window that had this like awning on it type of thing where it was opaque, like you could kind of see through it from the inside, but people couldn't see back in as well. So she like walks over and kind of just looks just to see if she can see the shape of anything. Is it a raccoon just messing with the dog or whatever? Because stranger things have happened, all right? Like, you know, a coyote is in your backyard trying to eat your dog, so your dog gets scared. There might be a logical explanation, but when she goes over and looks out the window, she sees the silhouette of somebody standing there. Like standing there fiddling with the lock on the door. So she immediately starts freaking out and is like, oh my god, someone's trying to get into the house. So she grabs the dog and turns around, and when she turns around, she realizes that there's a second person standing in the living room window, and like it's pretty dark, so she can't see any features, which makes it even creepier. It's just this shadowy figure standing in front of her living room window looking in, and I guess her and her boyfriend had just moved in, so there's like no blinds, so 100% the guy can see her, like holding the dog, and his friend is trying to break in the back door. So obviously they're just standing there, and she's getting terrified because this dude sees this girl in the house, and instead of like telling his friend to escape and whatnot, he's just still standing in the window. And that is terrifying, dude. If you catch somebody staring into your window at night and they keep staring, that's some 911 get out of their behavior, please. Like like this is making me scared and I'm not even there, okay? So she grabs the puppy and like runs into the bathroom and locks the door and is like, oh shit balls, oh no, oh no. She calls the cops and is out of sight in the bathroom. She has the door locked, and she's waiting for somebody to come. And the first person she ended up calling was her dad, because I guess her boyfriend who works night shift worked at some place where, you know, he wouldn't have been easy to get a hold of. I don't know if he didn't have service or couldn't take his phone with him or what, but like for whatever reason, he's gonna get to be hard to get a hold of. So she calls the cops, and then she calls her dad, and she's like sitting in the bathroom terrified, and she hears people walking around the house. Like I guess they had rocks on the house or around the house. So she can hear like footsteps in the rocks kind of walking around the house. And the worst part is it wasn't one of these situations where like they were walking around the rocks trying to leave. They're like just walking around the house almost as if they're looking for another way in. So she is just hearing these people walk around their house, and she had called her dad, and her dad's on the phone, and he's on the way over because I guess they had lived pretty close. So her parents show up before the cops, and at this point they had left. She doesn't know exactly when she stopped hearing footsteps in the rocks, but by the time her dad shows up, you know, the guys are gone, and so the dad comes in, and he starts like trying to calm down his daughter because obviously someone was just trying to break into the house, and that's terrifying. The neighbors who had lived across the street didn't actually like see who the people were, but they did see a car leaving, and honestly just a terrifying situation. Regardless, the police are like, yeah, I wouldn't spend the night here because your boyfriend doesn't get off till 7 a.m. So she goes and she spends the night at her parents' house, which is honestly probably the best bet after creepy dudes just tried to break into your house, saw you, and then kept trying to break in. Like, I guess it would be one thing if you saw someone trying to break into your house and were like, I'm home, and then they ran away, but you know, the fact that they knew she was in there and just straight up didn't care is terrifying. Like, that's not someone trying to just steal some TV to buy some meth. That's a criminal. Anyways, that night she spends the night at her parents', and the next morning her boyfriend comes over and is like, oh my god, are you okay? And they decide to go back to the house. So they go back to the house and start just like looking around, looking at everything, obviously, because they don't really know if they had broken anything. And so the back door had like all these scratches near the lock where they had been trying to break in, and sure enough, the top basement window was like partially kicked in. It looked like somebody had kicked it to try to break it, but it was too small for somebody to crawl through anyways. So they had broken that window to try to get in. Like, these people were trying to break in for a while. So I'm gonna be honest, this is just more evidence that you should have a dog. Like, if that puppy wouldn't have been whimpering and waking her up, who knows what could have happened. She says after seeing that basement window that they immediately called the cops, or not the cops, the security company, and got a security system installed the next day. And yeah, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I got a security system not because I necessarily think it's gonna stop someone from breaking in, but it's more for just like my peace of mind, you know? That way if somebody breaks a window, there's an alarm going off and I don't have to just see someone staring through my living room window, like just like, hi. What a crazy situation, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I read that there was a guy standing in the front window just staring at her, my heart just starts to race because that sounds absolutely terrifying. She is okay now. The police never found out who it was, though. That's the only real terrifying part. They've never come back, though, so she doesn't really know what the deal was with the dude kind of standing there staring, but maybe he was just scared and didn't know what to do because he's never robbed a house before, I guess. Who knows, dude? I'm not an expert. I don't do home invasion. That's not my thing. I just make YouTube videos. Regardless, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button, comment down below, and subscribe with notifications on. Get yourself some of the OG Sub Club merch and use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout for a little bit of a discount. Other than that, I really appreciate all the support, and if you want to check out the intro song, a link will be in the description. And yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. I'm gonna challenge you to a boxing match, except instead of me, it's gonna be Mike Tyson. So be sure to press the like button. Me and Mike Tyson look alike. No one will know we've switched places. Real talk, though, guys, today, I hope you're having a good one. I've got a story for you guys that was sent in by a subscriber about a coworker that they had, which was absolutely insane. I guess technically it was their mom's coworker, but regardless, the story is funny either way. It's about a lady who went around stealing lunches and got fired for it, which is quite the way to lose your job. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
I'm in the streets like it's Tokyo. Girls on me everywhere I go.
All right. Now, I've never worked like a super serious office job to the point where I've had to like take in my lunch and whatnot, but I'm gonna assume that something that you can look forward to all day is eating whatever you made. You know, you make sure to toss a little extra Twinkie in your lunch bag just to make sure you get some happiness. I'm sure it feels pretty good. And regardless, the person who sent me in this story, it's from her mom's perspective, but it was her first job out of college, and you know, she was very excited to have gotten a big girl job, and sure enough, she gets in there and she's getting a tour and she gets shown the lunchroom, and they point out the fridge where everybody's allowed to store their lunch, and they open the fridge and they say just make sure you label everything, and every lunch is nicely has their name on it. Some of the lunches have what's inside of them written on it. Like, it's a very nicely organized fridge. And for the first maybe like 3-4 months the lady's working there's no problem. Every day she gets to go eat their lunch and it's always there. It's like never missing, you know, because it's weird to steal someone's lunch. And then they hire like a group of 8 people at once. They had brought on 8 temporary workers to like help with the project, and all of a sudden lunches just start to go missing. And I'm not even talking about missing in terms of like not being able to found later. I mean just not in the fridge anymore. It's very obvious once people start looking around, and somewhere, somebody of the new hires or one of the people that she's been working with has decided to become a full-blown psychopath and start going in and like stealing lunches. But the worst part is whoever is stealing lunches doesn't have the common courtesy to like just steal whatever lunch is out there first. No. Whoever the lunch thief is like going in, taking bites of 3 or 4 lunches, throwing them away, and then just picking the one that she likes the most. So like she's going in, taking bites of 5 people's lunches, not putting it back, which I mean, I guess to be fair, I'd want it thrown away too. It's not like I'm gonna eat my lunch after Deborah the accountant took a bite out of it. I don't know what she's done with her mouth. All I know is she went to a college and apparently was in a sorority, so I know it's done some gross things. Anyways, she's like throwing away people's lunches, and it's already inconsiderate enough to just steal your coworker's lunch, but like taking multiple lunches, taking bites out of all of them that's not yours and then throwing them away is insane. Like, this lady was blazing through at least 4 lunches every day. And the craziest part is it was legitimately every day. Every day, all of the lunches that were in the fridge were like getting devoured. So basically, for a while, everybody's, you know, trying to figure out who the mysterious person who's eating all the lunches is. Everybody assumed there was one fat guy who was a part of the new group of people, and everybody assumed it was him because this person was legitimately like taste testing 5 different lunches, you know? So they started having security kind of follow that guy around. I guess this was before security cameras, and sure enough, it's not him. And now everybody is perplexed. Everyone's like, all right, that was the only person we thought it could be. Which one of you psychopaths is going into the break room and just getting the smorgasbord taste test of all of your coworkers' food and then just like throwing them away? So they finally hire a security guard to like spy on the workers and try to figure out how this is going on, because for months people are having to keep their lunches in their desk. They can't bring cold food because they can't trust anything being left in the fridge, and whoever this food bandit is still just going crazy eating whatever food is around him. Anyways, one day the boss of the company goes to get his lunch, and every day so far, obviously whoever had been like stealing all the lunches had kind of realized that it was the boss's name and left his alone. And I guess the boss hadn't been taking it seriously up to that point because his food wasn't going missing, and that's how bosses are. If it doesn't matter to them, then it doesn't matter to anyone. But one day the boss goes in and his lunch is missing, and he starts freaking out. Like, apparently from the top floor where everybody was working in offices, you can just hear this guy screaming about how whoever took his sandwich is gonna pay, and you know, when he finds out who did this, they're fired. Which, like, listen, if you're gonna be a boss and all of your employees' sandwiches are getting stolen for months and you don't do anything, and then yours gets jacked once and you freak out, it's gonna make you look bad. Like, all your employees are just gonna assume that you're a jerk. That's just how it is. I really am sorry. I don't make the rules, but the fact that it took that guy that long to get mad when everybody else's sandwich were going missing is kind of funny. I wouldn't want to work for him, but it is pretty funny. Anyways, he starts being like, who's freaking this out? And as everybody's looking around the office, there's this one like little old Asian lady who looks extremely nervous. And so the boss comes in and he goes into the office and he gets on the phone and starts screaming about how they need to figure out who it is. And they see like the little old Asian lady get up and excuse herself and go into the office and close the door. And like all that we hear next is just, what? Are you kidding me? Rah, 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 rah. And nobody really knows what's going on. They just know that the boss has become unhinged and is like legitimately just losing his mind, you know? And he's just going in on this lady, and everybody's assuming that like this poor old lady's getting fired and must have just told him that she's embezzling money from the company. And she comes out and she just starts emptying her desk because it's very obvious from the screaming and bits and pieces that they heard that this lady is no longer employed here. So she comes out, she passes her desk, and she leaves. And everybody isn't even putting two and two together yet that this old lady is the one who's been stealing all the lunch. Because when I say it's a little old Asian lady, like, it's Mulan's grandma, all right? You don't expect her to be in the lunchroom taking bites of 5 different lunches till she finds what tickles her taste buds. Like, that's just not something you ever really expect to happen. I am going to take a second and ask you guys to just press the like button and comment the word potato down below if you're enjoying the video. It just helps it do better and I'd appreciate it. Regardless, after the lady leaves, the boss calls everybody into the conference room. He's like, look, we have to have a very serious discussion. And he sits everybody down, dude, and starts talking to everybody like he legit just caught Osama bin Laden. He's like, you know, there's been somebody that has been terrorizing this office for quite some time now, and about an hour ago it came to my attention who it was, and they've been relieved. And he tells everybody that like it's the little Asian grandma who was stealing all the food, and everybody starts laughing, and it's like, all right, no, but who was it really? And he's like, no, for real, I guess this little Asian old lady grandma had been like sneaking downstairs because she was so inconspicuous and innocent. You always trust old people, it's a fact. And had been like taste testing all the lunches and throwing them away. And I guess she didn't feel bad because the boss wasn't seeming very upset, so she thought she was cool with it. But when the boss came in all mad and was like demanding to figure out who it was and saying they were gonna get fired, she realized that he was gonna find out who it was pretty quick, so she just came clean, and the boss fired her for eating his sandwich, which, as far as things go, like, yes, it's stealing, but it's a funny reason to rob somebody. That being said, that old lady is pretty awful. If you're willing to steal somebody's lunch, that's just too far, all right? Stealing someone's car, stealing somebody's girlfriend, that's all fair game, but taking somebody's food is just rude, let's be honest. Regardless, I guess the moral of the story is to always keep an eye on your food if you work in an office building, because you never know when someone's grandma might steal it. I understand that the morals of this channel are getting a little bit more weird. I'm not quite sure what's going on either. Really, though, guys, oh, these kids back here were trying to boost and free-for-all. Watch. It's so corny, dude. But really, though, guys, don't steal people's food. I just think that's not dope. On that note, that is going to do it for the video, though. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you just taking a second to press the like button and comment down below. I know I've been asking for that a lot recently, but the channel's been doing better, and I honestly think that might have something to do with it, so sorry for begging so much, as I know it's annoying. Other than that, if you like the intro song, a link will be down below in the description if you want to check
check it out. It does help me out. And you could also get some of the OG Sub Club merch. If you really want to be a swag lord, that's always an option as well. And use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout. Helps you out, helps me out. Everybody's a winner. But yeah, on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And hopefully I'll see you guys all tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. I'm gonna challenge you to a boxing match, except instead of me, it's gonna be Mike Tyson. So be sure to press the like button. Me and Mike Tyson look alike. No one will know we've switched places. Real talk though, guys, today I hope you're having a good one. I've got a story for you guys that was sent in by a subscriber about a coworker that they had, which was absolutely insane. I guess technically it was their mom's coworker, but regardless, the story is funny either way. It's about a lady who went around stealing lunches and got fired for it, which is quite the way to lose your job. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
I'm in the streets like it's Tokyo. Girls on me everywhere I go.
All right. Now, I've never worked like a super serious office job to the point where I've had to like take in my lunch and whatnot, but I'm gonna assume that something that you can look forward to all day is eating whatever you made. You know, you make sure to toss a little extra Twinkie in your lunch bag just to make sure you get some happiness. I'm sure it feels pretty good. And regardless, the person who sent me in this story, it's from her mom's perspective, but it was her first job out of college, and you know, she was very excited to have gotten a big girl job, and sure enough, she gets in there and she's getting a tour and she gets shown the lunchroom, and they point out the fridge where everybody's allowed to store their lunch, and they open the fridge and they say just make sure you label everything, and every lunch is nicely has their name on it. Some of the lunches have what's inside of them written on it. Like, it's a very nicely organized fridge. And for the first maybe like 3-4 months the lady's working there's no problem. Every day she gets to go eat their lunch and it's always there. It's like never missing, you know, because it's weird to steal someone's lunch. And then they hire like a group of 8 people at once. They had brought on 8 temporary workers to like help with the project, and all of a sudden lunches just start to go missing. And I'm not even talking about missing in terms of like not being able to found later. I mean just not in the fridge anymore. It's very obvious once people start looking around, and somewhere, somebody of the new hires or one of the people that she's been working with has decided to become a full-blown psychopath and start going in and like stealing lunches. But the worst part is whoever is stealing lunches doesn't have the common courtesy to like just steal whatever lunch is out there first. No. Whoever the lunch thief is like going in, taking bites of 3 or 4 lunches, throwing them away, and then just picking the one that she likes the most. So like she's going in, taking bites of 5 people's lunches, not putting it back, which I mean, I guess to be fair, I'd want it thrown away too. It's not like I'm gonna eat my lunch after Deborah the accountant took a bite out of it. I don't know what she's done with her mouth. All I know is she went to a college and apparently was in a sorority, so I know it's done some gross things. Anyways, she's like throwing away people's lunches, and it's already inconsiderate enough to just steal your coworker's lunch, but like taking multiple lunches, taking bites out of all of them that's not yours and then throwing them away is insane. Like, this lady was blazing through at least 4 lunches every day. And the craziest part is it was legitimately every day. Every day, all of the lunches that were in the fridge were like getting devoured. So basically, for a while, everybody's, you know, trying to figure out who the mysterious person who's eating all the lunches is. Everybody assumed there was one fat guy who was a part of the new group of people, and everybody assumed it was him because this person was legitimately like taste testing 5 different lunches, you know? So they started having security kind of follow that guy around. I guess this was before security cameras, and sure enough, it's not him. And now everybody is perplexed. Everyone's like, all right, that was the only person we thought it could be. Which one of you psychopaths is going into the break room and just getting the smorgasbord taste test of all of your coworkers' food and then just like throwing them away? So they finally hire a security guard to like spy on the workers and try to figure out how this is going on, because for months people are having to keep their lunches in their desk. They can't bring cold food because they can't trust anything being left in the fridge, and whoever this food bandit is still just going crazy eating whatever food is around him. Anyways, one day the boss of the company goes to get his lunch, and every day so far, obviously whoever had been like stealing all the lunches had kind of realized that it was the boss's name and left his his alone. And I guess the boss hadn't been taking it seriously up to that point because his food wasn't going missing, and that's how bosses are. If it doesn't matter to them, then it doesn't matter to anyone. But one day the boss goes in and his lunch is missing, and he starts freaking out. Like, apparently from the top floor where everybody was working in offices, you can just hear this guy screaming about how whoever took his sandwich is gonna pay, and you know, when he finds out who did this, they're fired. Which, like, listen, if you're gonna be a boss and all of your employees' sandwiches are getting stolen for months and you don't do anything, and then yours gets jacked once and you freak out, it's gonna make you look bad. Like, all your employees are just gonna assume that you're a jerk. That's just how it is. I really am sorry, I don't make the rules, but the fact that it took that guy that long to get mad when everybody else's sandwich were going missing is kind of funny. I wouldn't want to work for him, but it is pretty funny. Anyways, he starts being like, who's freaking this out? And as everybody's looking around the office, there's this one, like, little old Asian lady who looks extremely nervous. And so the boss comes in and he goes into the office and he gets on the phone and starts screaming about how they need to figure out who it is. And they see, like, the little old Asian lady get up and excuse herself and go into the office and close the door. And, like, all that we hear next is just, what? Are you kidding me? Rah, 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 rah. And nobody really knows what's going on. They just know that the boss has become unhinged and is, like, legitimately just losing his mind, you know? And he's just going in on this lady, and everybody's assuming that, like, this poor old lady's getting fired and must have just told him that she's embezzling money from the company. And she comes out and she just starts emptying her desk because it's very obvious from the screaming and bits and pieces that they heard that this lady is no longer employed here. So she comes out, she passes her desk, and she leaves. And everybody isn't even putting two and two together yet that this old lady is the one who's been stealing all the lunch. Because when I say it's a little old Asian lady, like, it's Mulan's grandma, all right? You don't expect her to be in the lunchroom taking bites of 5 different lunches till she finds what tickles her taste buds. Like, that's just not something you ever really expect to happen. I am going to take a second and ask you guys to just press the like button and comment the word potato down below if you're enjoying the video. It just helps it do better and I'd appreciate it. Regardless, after the lady leaves, the boss calls everybody into the conference room. He's like, look, we have to have a very serious discussion. And he sits everybody down, dude, and starts talking to everybody like he legit just caught Osama bin Laden. He's like, you know, there's been somebody that has been terrorizing this office for quite some time now, and about an hour ago it came to my attention who it was, and they've been relieved. And he tells everybody that, like, it's the little Asian grandma who was stealing all the food, and everybody starts laughing, and it's like, all right, no, but who was it really? And he's like, no, for real, I guess this little Asian old lady grandma had been, like, sneaking downstairs because she was so inconspicuous and innocent. You always trust old people, it's a fact. And had been, like, taste testing all the lunches and throwing them away. And I guess she didn't feel bad because the boss wasn't seeming very upset, so she thought she was cool with it. But when the boss came in all mad and was, like, demanding to figure out who it was and saying they were gonna get fired, she realized that he was gonna find out who it was pretty quick, so she just came clean, and the boss fired her for eating his sandwich, which, as far as things go, like, yes, it's stealing, but it's a funny reason to rob somebody. That being said, that old lady is pretty awful. If you're willing to steal somebody's lunch, that's just too far, all right? Stealing someone's car, stealing somebody's girlfriend, that's all fair game, but taking somebody's food is just rude, let's be honest. Regardless, I guess the moral of the story is to always keep an eye on your food if you work in an office building, because you never know when someone's grandma might steal it. I understand that the morals of this channel are getting a little bit more weird. I'm not quite sure what's going on either. Really, though, guys, oh, these kids back here were trying to boost and free-for-all. Watch, it's so corny, dude. But really, though, guys, don't steal people's food. I just think that's not dope. On that note, that is going to do it for the video, though. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you just taking a second to press the like button and comment down below. I know I've been asking for that a lot recently, but the channel's been doing better, and I honestly think that might have something to do with it, so sorry for begging so much, as I know it's annoying. Other than that, if you like the intro song, a link will be down below in the description if you want to check it out. It does help me out, and you could also get some of the OG Sub Club merch if you really want to be a swag lord. That's always an option as well, and use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout. Helps you out, helps me out, everybody's a winner. But yeah, on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace.